Thank you. Start the meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance. Thanks, Tom.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, Chair.
Commissioner Leap.
Here.
Commissioner Lardy.
Yep.
Vice Chair Long.
Here.
President Gannett.
Here.
Commissioner Kepler.
Here.
All in attendance.
Just want to announce we had an executive session just prior to this meeting to discuss personnel. We'll take public comment. For public comment at the beginning of the meeting, you're permitted 3 minutes on agenda or non-agenda items. And on action items during the meeting, only Pocono Township residents, stakeholders, and local businesses may speak at the podium and be permitted 1 minute for your comments on that agenda item. Is there any public comment?
Turn it up a little bit.
So I have a comment.
Could you tell us your name?
I can. It's Patrice Lanucci.
Go ahead, Patrice.
I have been patiently waiting for any response from any of the board that I sent and the manager emails to about this meeting and my concerns about the development of those 18 parcels that are in and connected to my neighborhood in Pocono Laurel Lake. It is connected to the Cranberry Bog. It is connected to the Pocono Creek, and it does dump into the Delaware River watershed. My home, my lake is already contaminated and degrading, and I would like to know what provisions you're going to implement to keep my sons and our disabled neighbors to be able to stay in their homes instead of just providing for new apartments, new buildings, new restaurants and hotels in my area. Please tell me. I'm living here 55 years. I pay my taxes. I don't want to find a new place to live. It is protected. Our wildlife, our environment, our waters, and our children deserve to be able to live here. Someone please help me.
Are you talking about the hearing we're having tonight? Or
Yes.
okay.
Rezoning of the MCTI lots.
Yes, I believe you'll have an opportunity to speak during the hearing. Is that correct, Leo?
That's correct.
Isn't this all part of it though? Someone could have told me that.
Well, we don't answer questions on public comment. You're allowed to speak, and then at the hearing we do have to answer questions.
Thank you. And I apologize for my hoarse voice. I'm very ill. So
sorry to hear that. Thank you. Any other public comment?
Cheryl Parks.
Hi guys, Cheryl Parks. I've been a resident for 39 years. I'd really like to get some answers on the sewer line and the wastewater line or that's going to be put next to my house. The letter that we got said that they were going to be doing blasting. Nobody's even surveyed that property. They came and put ribbons around. I have no idea what those are. The stormwater, we don't know where that's going to be dumping out, if we're going to be raising mosquitoes. My property, my well is 40 foot. It's about 30 foot from my property line where they want to put that. We've got no information about how far those lines are going to be away from the property line. And then if they're going to be blasting, my well is right there. My leach field is in the front. That's about 40 feet from the property line. I have a 500-gallon propane tank buried in the front of my yard. I don't know. Blasting doesn't seem like a thing that is probably going to do us any good. I'd really like to get some answers. We had a meeting in October. These things were supposed to be answered. That question that I think the commissioners have that Jared sent out, they were said that they didn't have to do anything. That we had a lot of nerve even asking because it wasn't our property. Our properties are in jeopardy with this thing. And I would like to know when it was going to happen, where it was going to be, where the wastewater, the stormwater is going to be dumping out. And I've already had damage from this. So I'm hoping somebody can give us some answers. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? With that, we'll move on to the hearing. I'll make a motion to open the hearing for the MCTI rezoning. Is there a second? We're not going to open the hearing?
Second.
Any discussion?
Yep.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. You're up, Leo.
Thank you, Madam President. Tonight is a hearing for a zoning request as a result of a request from MCTI to change certain properties that they own from R1 zoning district to R2 zoning district. The hearing was properly advertised. It was properly posted by Mr. Morgan, our zoning officer, and basically it was a request from MCTI, who owns the adjoining property where their technical institute is located, to rezone the property from R1 to R2. That is the issue before you. I believe there were, I'm going to say 18 lots that were shown on a plan. Is there any public comment? That young lady should be asked to put her comment on the record, Madam President.
Yes. Do we discuss it first? Or do we?
You can discuss it first if you'd like.
Does the board have any questions or comments?
I did. Oh, sorry, Mike, if you had something to say.
Well, as far as I know, they want this rezoned so they can have the students build homes so they can get educated. Am I correct?
Well, they can do that now. So, but yes.
Okay.
I mean, my concern was that what I recall hearing, during the presentation was that we want to have this rezoned so that they can build single family houses on 1 acre lots, which you can't currently do in R2, or R1, but you can do in R2. I mean, my question would be why can't we just provide a waiver for that if that's really the reason we want to do this instead of rezoning all these lots to R2?
They are allowed to build because they're non-conforming. I believe that's
So
they
they
came in before the zoning.
I thought that they said, oh, please.
Sure. Dennis Berg, I'm the director at MCTI. So yes, there's two reasons why we're looking to do.
Yeah, in the hearing, would you mind being sworn in since you're the applicant?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. I do. Good. So just to rehash why we're looking to do this. Yes, to build houses. So we built our last house about 20 years ago. We would like to get into the challenge that we've had up to this point is the road. The road is, we own it, and it is a nuisance. The other issue we ran into is, and I will preface, there is no immediate plans for any additions. But when we put our recent addition on, the zoning lines became a problem. So we actually had to pay a $10,000 variance to the township to build that for our own property, for that offset off that property line or that zoning line. So we're trying to avoid that. If we were to build again, which to be honest with you, I don't see it happening anytime soon, but if it was, it would save the taxpayers money. We would propose to build in the back of the school. And it would be on our current site, but it would be possible where we run into the same issue that would come too close to the current zoning lines and would cost an extra amount of money.
So why so many lots then, and not just the ones adjoining your property? Why all of the lots in that whole area? I mean, that's a very large area that, I mean, could potentially be developed into multifamily. It could be developed into, transitional housing. It could be developed into, I mean, R2 allows for a lot of different things that aren't allowed in R1. And my concern is just, what Ms. Lanucci, voiced herself. If we were to get a big project back there, some kind of apartments, that's a lot of runoff. That's a lot of stormwater runoff potentially going into Laurel Lake.
Well, it wouldn't run into Laurel Lake. That's not accurate. Laurel Lake. So our current runoff goes to our sewage treatment plant, which is across the street from us, which is in lower elevation than Laurel Lake.
The stormwater does?
Yes.
I mean, I know for
stormwater runs into that.
So I live in Laurel Lake, and I can say I know for a fact that the stormwater from Votech Drive runs right down along the curb there, and then is washing out the dam.
But
so
again, you at Laurel Lake are higher elevation than the school, so
well, that's up a hill. It's up a hill.
But it goes downhill. It doesn't go up the hill to the lake.
Well, it's still washing down. I mean, it's washing down. It's washing out towards the dam. So my concern is just that with more impermeable ground, that water is, rather than percolating down into the ground where it's going to bubble up in the lake, it's now causing erosion. And the other issue that I'm concerned about is that right around the corner in, I think it's Barshing Glen, there was West Nile virus. So this is like a really swampy area. My concern is that this could potentially lead to more standing water if, again, it's not, percolating down to the ground because we have more impervious surface there.
So I'm not an engineer, but but I will tell you this, your concern to solve that is to put stormwater. There is no stormwater drainage up on Votech Road. It's an unpaved road that doesn't have proper drainage like a typical street does. So if we were to build in there, the first step we'd have to do is put a road in that's up to your guys' codes, which includes stormwater runoff. That's for the development. That's what you're talking about.
So why so many lots? If you can build single family homes on those lots, why are you looking to rezone so many and not just the ones adjoining your property that could potentially lead to these variance fees?
You might as well do them all at once.
Yeah, I mean,
what's the sense? I mean, they're gonna build you build a house a year?
It'd probably be every 2 years.
Okay. In 20 years.
Yeah, they're kids building, and so it takes that.
I understand. And when I retire from my current position, I'm gonna apply to be an electrical teacher at MCTI because it's close to home. But if you have 18 lots.
Yes.
That's 30 years of education for carpenters, plumbers, electricians, masons. Why not zone them so that you can use them as, the property belongs to the school.
Yes.
The property doesn't belong to 18 different people. The property belongs to the school. You can do what you want with it. You're just asking if we could rezone it.
Yeah, Mr. Kepler, to answer your question, I understand what you're saying about, and to Ms. Lavarge's point, I appreciate you giving us or saying that you give us a waiver. Unfortunately, I've been director for 8 years. I've been at MCTI for 20 years. Now, Jared is top notch, and my experience with you guys is great so far. I can't say the same prior to that. Some of the times that we asked for an exemption I'll give you an example. We had to put a new roof on the building. We had to pay over $30,000 to get a permit from the township for that because it's based on how much the project costs. Okay. Now the project cost for us is prevailing wage, which is like you guys have to pay. I came to this board and asked for a waiver for that, and an exemption got completely shot down. So my point is, you may be saying that now, and you guys as a board may be willing to give that exemption. 20 years from now, or 15 years from now, if the school wanted to do something, there's no saying that you guys would give us that exemption then.
My response would be to you, that's democracy,
Exactly. And that's why
the reason to keep it as it is now is because, again, changing it from R1 to R2 would open up a can of worms in terms of what could potentially go there. It could create all sorts of downstream issues. If we were to change that zoning,
they haven't said that. They haven't said they want to build an apartment.
Well, they have. Well,
they said they want to build single-family homes.
Well, we don't know.
Don't you understand?
Well, that's what they're saying they want to do now, but we don't know. He said, he's talking 20 years down the line here. I'm talking 20 years down the line here too. So.
Madam President? If I can be recognized?
Yes, please.
Okay, first of all, one person at a time. We're gonna burn Donna's fingers right off her hands. So if we try not to talk over one another, that would help her. Just want to make sure we're clear. This board would not grant any waivers of any of the requirements of the zoning ordinance, and I think this is where you're coming from. We do not have the power. We have the power to waive subdivision and land development ordinance provisions, but any request for a modification or a variance of the requirements of the zoning ordinance would go to the zoning hearing board. And that's where you run into your application
Sure,
fees
yes.
and everything else. And I just want to make sure that the board understands and that we're clear on that issue. So we can't waive zoning requirements. You would not come before us. You understand.
Right, yes, I do.
And so, I mean, my point is, if you can already build the single family homes on most of these lots, or all of these lots, because they're non-conforming, you could already build there. I don't see the reason to change so many of them, except for the ones that could potentially lead to that variance request, you know, the ones that border your property. I think changing that many, it creates a very large area that could potentially be developed if the school were to decide down the line to sell those properties rather than build films on them. If they were to change hands or something like that, I mean, you know, the school owns all those lots. If they were to decide, you know, we want to sell them so that we can do an expansion, we don't know who's going to buy them. And once there are two, they could be developed into a trailer park. They could be developed into, again, you know, an apartment complex. We don't know. And by changing the zoning now, I'm just worried that it's going to open up a can of worms, and it's going to make it so that we aren't able to, you know, do anything as a board about it. You know, we're going to be forced, you know, because it's allowed by right, you know, these sorts of projects in that zoning district.
If I just may add, all land development will still have to go through the planning commission and board of commissioners. Even after a rezoning.
Well, of course, but it's allowed by right. You know, we'll have to approve it as long as they meet all of the conditions. You know, if whether it's conditional use, but I'm pretty sure it's just permitted, right? Is that those aren't conditional use, are they? I mean, some of them may be.
Some of them may be, but it's still the non-conformity of the lots.
So there are additional kind of permitted uses and then conditional uses that would be allowed in the R2 versus the R1. One thing to kind of keep into consideration is that the zoning ordinance has a 1 dwelling unit per 2 acre requirement in the R1 and the R2 if they are connected to a private and well and septic. So even if they did switch to an R2, they wouldn't immediately be able to do an apartment complex. They would have to combine those lots in order to do that.
And is that something that would come before us for a vote, or is that something that, you know, could be done if, you know, a developer bought all that up? Is that something that would be, you know, required by right to allow them to do that?
Hypothetically, if someone did come in and buy all the lots, they would have to combine them together. That would be subdivision land development. It would go in front of you. And then it depends on the type of use. I believe a 2-family is a permitted use by right. Mobile home parks are a permitted use by right, but they have 10 acre minimum. So you'd be close to the number.
I just think that we really should consider narrowing the scope of the properties that we're going to be changing to R2. I just think this is a very large area to change over to R2 when you could already potentially be building on these lots, given they are, you know, allowed to have single family homes built on them because they're non-conforming. I would be open to rezoning just the adjoining lots to, you know, potentially, you know, deal with any variance concerns so that the school doesn't have to deal with that down the line. But to rezone such a large area to, you know, a more intensive use when it's in a, you know, a delicate watershed like that, with the lake, with the state of the dam, with the fact that, again, it is, you know, connected to the cranberry bog. These things all, you know, are concerning to me from an environmental standpoint, from, you know, a stormwater standpoint. And, you know, to be clear about my personal bias, you know, I do live in Pocono Laurel Lakes. You know, I don't want to see something that could potentially degrade the lake, degrade the dam, and degrade the community in the long run, because we see more intensive development in an area that is still largely residential, you know, residential in the traditional sense of, you know, single family homes, not necessarily, you know, apartments or larger, you know, more dense development.
No, you're saying apartments because you're assuming that we would sell the property, because
Well,
obviously we're not.
Assuming, I'm just saying that it just opens up the potential for that. That potential is not there now, but by changing it, we're opening the door for that. Right now, somebody could come in, I suppose they could ask for a waiver if they wanted to do that there, or they could ask for us to allow that. But they would have to come before us, and again, it would be an issue that would come before the board, and we could make a determination on it. But by making this change, it's now allowed by right, and we lose any ability to to really step in and try to I mean not prevent it, but to mitigate the effects on the surrounding neighborhood.
I have a few very simple questions.
Yes.
Have you discussed which parcel would be developed first?
No, we haven't. We're nowhere near that. So the good question. So the first step would be, and I think I said this when I presented it, is the reason why we stopped building houses is because of the road. So hindsight's always 2020, but when the school back in the 70s, started developing those lots, they never put the full road in. So right now it's just a paper road. So I think Jared has it up there right now. So it's not even cut out. It's all woods. So for us, the school, I mean, we have a $10 million budget. That's what we have. We're funded by the 4 districts. For us to put a road in, let me backtrack. For us to sell a house that is on a private road that's not paved in today's day and age is not exactly the best way of selling a house. For the people who live in Votech Road, we do our best to maintain the road. If it was me, if I had my dream, we would have that fully paved with the road put in, and that's the goal. So the goal would be, once this gets put through, whatever way it goes through, is start looking for, actually through grant money, to get that road put in. And then, to be honest with you, the other holdup that we had was we would want the township to take that road over once we put it up to code, that you guys, and I work with Patrick and all of you guys on it. In the past, we were told the township would not do that. So we don't want to be in the business of owning a road. I can tell you that firsthand. So that's what the holdup's been. So that's the first step. The next step after that's put in is deciding where the house would go.
My next question was going to be,
Yeah.
do you have any sort of timeline for beginning the first project? But I think what you just said kind of.
I'm gonna be honest with you, and this whole project that I presented to you guys with the rezoning is really from experience, what I've dealt with, or what we've dealt with as a school with the new addition and the hurdles that we faced in the past. We're trying to make it easier. Whether I'm there for another, knock on wood, hopefully another 13 years, and I'm retiring, and then it's somebody else's problem. But no joking aside, it's just better planning. It's better for and I agree with Mr. Kepler. I fully understand. We do our best to be the best neighbors possible in that area. We truly do. This is, in my view, the best thing we can do, because the last thing I want to do, and it has come up, is if we can't utilize the property, is to sell it. And who's going to buy it would be developers. And that's not something that we really want to get in the business of doing. We want to use it to build single family houses that our students will build. And I know there's a lot of concerns when I was here at the previous meetings. There's no intention of building a bigger school over there. We just put, in the last 8 years, we put about $15 million on a new roof, new HVAC, new addition. That school is in great shape. And we are purposely looking to build behind the school to honor our neighbors who obviously they probably don't want a school right next to them. We put it behind the school. It limits the interference for them. So we're trying to do what's best for the surrounding community.
I was just going to ask, my last question was, would you be amenable? Would you be open to, would it make sense to rezone only a portion or half, let's say, of the parcels? But I think I know the answer after discussing the road issue.
Yeah. So I am not, again, so I am, to me, the 4 adjoining lots should be rezoned, definitely, because I think it's ridiculous. I think it's ridiculous for taxpayers, to be honest with you, that you're paying double. You're paying school taxes for us to pay $10,000 variance to the township. I mean, that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. So if we can get them rezoned, we can eliminate that concern. And then as far as the R2, R1, I'm under the impression, and I believe John mentioned it last time I was here, is there a question that, because are they grandfathered in, or now under R1, do you need 2-acre lots? Like that, I don't know the answer to those questions. If we can build single family houses on those lots as R1, I agree with Mr. Kepler, but I was under the impression that was not the case, or at least easily done anyway.
Thank you.
John, can you speak to that?
It would be more of a zoning question. Currently, the lots would be considered non-conforming, and single-family dwellings are permitted to be developed on non-conforming lots. So as they exist, they would be able to be developed as a single family. They would have to meet the yard setback requirements for the 2-acre because they're not less than 0.75 acres. But again, the house may have to be a little smaller, but you'd still be able to develop them as single-family dwellings.
And is that something we could provide a waiver for too, Paul? If they wanted to do the yard setback, or is that something that would have to be a variance going before the
It would have to be in front of the zoning hearing board. They would grant the waiver if they deemed it was a hardship on the developer or school.
So I hope it was as clear as mud in answering you guys, but yes, it's really for the benefit of the community. And that's what we're looking to do. But I'll stop taking time. So I'm sure there's other people who want to speak.
No, I had a question for you.
Oh, yes. Sure.
So it sounds to me like you just want to build houses, except for maybe the bordering property, expand your school. And you can do that now as is. So
we can't do if we were to expand, we can't
expand, but you can build the houses.
Right. Yes. Right. From what I'm hearing, yes.
So the major kind of zoning requirement that is holding them up from expanding the school is that an education use needs to be at least 100 feet from a residential zone.
Yes.
So that is where they had to come in and get relief the last time. So if they did expand the R2 zone, it would kind of give them a buffer. So if they did want to expand, they wouldn't be as close to an R1. So those adjoining lots would be the best kind of to convert to an R2.
Right. And I don't know if Jared put where we would look at another addition is next to our diesel, which is completely in the back of the building, which probably would not fit that 100 yards. So it would give us that buffer that we would need. And I know there was questions.
Can you put the map back up, Jared, please?
I know there was questions about building a larger school. Again, in reality, that is not an option. When we look at that, our population in MCTI is excellent. Our wait list is through the roof, which is good news. The reality is, though, the county as a whole for student population is shrinking, and it's continuing to shrink. So for us to put a school the size of ours on those lots makes no sense. It never happened. We're just looking to add a few new programs.
Hi, Mr. McMillan. How are you?
Cheryl, can you?
I'm just ducky.
So the couple things that I wanted to bring up was what we just touched on was educational uses are permitted as a conditional use in R2, but are not permitted in R1. Right. So that's a big driving factor of switching them to R2. The Monroe County Planning Commission also says about spot zoning, if they're not all changed. And then just for the record, the Monroe County Planning Commission said that they recommend the adoption of the rezoning. And that's right in our packets. Mm-hmm. And I think anything that we can do to help an educational facility helps us in future generations.
But it's only going to help them for those 4 lots, right? Because they're not building the school out across the whole thing.
Well, they're not now, but potentially in the future, should they ever need to expand anything, parking, outdoor areas, a heavy machinery, whatever, they're not right now with an R1, they are prohibited.
Right.
In an R2, they can come in and get a conditional use permit through zoning to allow a small expansion if it's R2. If it's R1, they can't do anything. So even for educational purposes, they can't use those lots.
Understood, but I think what they're saying is they really only need those 4 lots, not necessarily because they are planning on building homes on the other lots.
I think it's just because of setback requirements with R1, because you can't build so close to an R1 zoning district because it could potentially disturb the single family homes in that area. That's why you would want to rezone those to R2, because it would.
The bigger disturbance
would
be the addition.
Yeah.
And that's, again, there are no plans, but Jared, I don't know if you have a picture of the overhead of the school. Right now, we have the land to build on our current lot. But again, going for the township and the homeowners surrounding us, putting an addition because we own all the way down to the road. We have plenty of land to put additions there. We don't want to do that because that would be an interference for our neighbors. They would be looking at parking lots. They'd be looking at buildings. We're trying to tuck everything behind the building to keep that footprint in the rear, because behind us is a power line which we own, but that we lease out to the power company. But right next to that building in the back, we'd be looking at a building similar in size that would go back there. That's what we're looking to do. Again, no plans. There is no future plans to do this. This is just something to try avoiding costing taxpayer future money. The housing is something we've been wanting to do for years in the township. Because you guys has opened that door up again because you've been willing to listen to this.
They can, right?
They can,
Right.
they can. They always could. They could always build a house.
No, so the problem is the road. You got the township
Well, you just-
flat out said they would not take the road, and
Well.
we're
they
not
can
gonna
build
we're
a-
not gonna invest that into the road if that was the case. So the option wasn't there.
Paul, I have a question for you. As far as how zoning would interpret it, it says educational uses are prohibited in R1. Because they would be building a house with students and it's not a certified licensed builder, would that be considered an educational use in an R1 zoning district if it stayed R1?
That was gonna be my.
The issuance of that zoning permit would be for the use of a single family dwelling. It doesn't matter who is building it. Obviously licensing requirements, if it's a general contractor or
Let's do
something like
that,
that would be, we would look at, but the finished use is what would be, the zoning permit would be issued under.
And Miss Sleep, and again, I don't want to ramble on. Generally, what happens if we were to build a house, we would hire a general contractor to oversee it.
Yeah.
That's typically what career and tech schools do around the state, just for that purpose.
So you sounded amenable to just doing the 4 lots and leaving the others R1.
I am amenable to, well, it's not my choice for any of this,
Right.
but if yes, is the 4 lots adjoining us, if we can get them rezoned, I think that would be a priority for the school's future. The goal to build those houses, whether that's R1, R2. I again, listening to you guys, it doesn't, as long as it's an option, then yes, I'd be okay with that. That's what we're looking to do. And again, none of this is, we got a lot of work to get there. We're just trying to plan.
So you're not in a necessarily a hurry to I mean, you want to rezone, I get that, but
At least the 4 lots would be
Yeah.
key. Yeah.
Well,
so-
then you'd end up coming back when those 4 lots are built, asking for it again. So
It probably won't.
Let's just-
probably won't be,
Maybe.
but yeah.
just rip the Band-Aid off and get it over with. So they can build these houses and people can move into them.
they can build them now, Mike.
Right. They can build it now.
Well, they need these to be R2.
No, they
No.
don't. Not to build a
Only,
house.
only to avoid the variances, and it's only those 4 lots. They just to avoid the variances. If they were to develop on the property they already have, just because of the setback requirements with R1.
What's your opinion?
I think we should just zone the whole area R2 so that they can proceed without having to come before us hat in hand every couple of years.
I don't think that is required, Mike. I think they can build on all those lots right now. The primary motivation is so that they can put the addition on the school, which they couldn't if it remains R1 closest to the school. In the future, yes. Potential position. So a compromise, which was discussed tonight, was just how about rezoning those 4 lots that are going to interfere potentially with the school? And they seem amenable to that. I think it's a good compromise. I think whether it gets rezoned or not, houses can be built on every one of those lots.
And I just had one more question. There was a
Yeah.
lot, and I'm not sure where it is in that circle, that the county pointed out. There's one lot that is split between R1 and R2.
Yes.
I'm not really sure how that happens. One lot. Do you want the picture of John? Pass that.
It looks like it kind of jets off. It looks like maybe it was merged with the MCC.
That's exactly what it was. So when we went put the addition on, we were explained by the township at that point to conjoin that lot because that's where we ran into that setback issue. So we conjoined the lot, which was approved, but we still had to do the variance because it was a zoning issue. It wasn't anything else. So we could conjoin all those lots, but it's still R1 and that prohibited us from anything. That's where that variance came in. And that's what that's in the future, a key point to this is that we need to avoid that.
I just have another question for Paul. So if they say R1, is he going to be required to get a non-conforming use permit for every single one of those lots?
A certificate of nonconformity is not required. There is a specific section in the ordinance that allows for the construction of a single family dwelling on a nonconforming lot. So a certificate wouldn't be required. They would just be able to come in and get a zoning permit for that.
Perfect. Okay. I just wanted to make sure because if there was permitting, I wanted to.
The majority of single family dwellings that are built nowadays, if they're not in a subdivision, they are non-conforming lot to that nature.
Any other questions for me?
Sure.
May I rain on the parade just a little bit? If the board would decide that the four lower lots, they were inclined to rezone, that would not happen this evening because that would be a substantive change to what has been proposed, and we would start the process anew, just showing those four lots to be rezoned and back out to the planning commissions, et cetera, re-advertise and move forward. But I wanted the board to be aware of that.
Understood. Thank you.
I mean, we did establish that this isn't a rush, right? I mean, you don't have any plans to start building,
Nope.
you still have to do the road before
I would love coming back.
anything. Yeah. So,
Is there any,
Yeah, I don't want to.
is there any public comment? Jim,
Yes,
she's been
I
waiting.
do.
All right.
Your name?
Hello?
Your name?
I'm happy to hear anyone else's comment and I'll go after them.
No, you go ahead, but we just need your name, the court stenographer.
My name is Patrice Lanucci and I live one street over from JoJo Road that connects to Votech Road. That I'm not sure of the gentleman's name and I know I have a limited time. So that road is in disgrace. I've lived here 32 years. We have a huge, I don't even know what they're called, culverts that was put in 2 years ago under our road, dumping into our lake from Votech Road. So any development and any approvals and building that's on that questionable lot, was the permit given before that they built that lot on already subdivided land? Or was it gotten after they already built it? How does that work? Everyone has subdivisions. Everyone has to comply with the EPA, DEP, every ordinance. We all have to do that. I want my kids to be able to go to MCTI. I don't want my family forced out of my home because I can't afford to repair the damage from deforestation, from all the, I have evidence. I have 30 years of pictures. I know that road. I know everyone on that board. I know everything. I'm under oath. And I've watched all the planning commission meetings. I've watched this MCTI guy say he does want to expand the school. I've watched it all and it infuriates me because my son can't move anywhere else. There are 3 other grown adults that can't go anywhere else, that should be able to remain in their homes. And that R2 allows for nursery schools, daycares, multi-dwelling units, multi-uses that I don't necessarily care if a school is there. Put it across the street. I don't mind looking at it in their drainage area, but I don't want it making my house end up further down the hill than it already is. I don't want to be so passionate, but I've watched every meeting and I've watched them be edited too. So please, somebody stop this, keep it the way it is. They can build on it And they can also fix their road because they're supposed to be teaching people how to do that. Thank you.
Thank you. Jim?
Yeah. If I remember, Dennis was talking about a diesel mechanic school. He was also talking about an operating engineer's playground, if I could put it that way. That is where the rub is. Okay, so zoning those four properties. Jerry, can I see the map, please? The map. The map, Jerry. The map. Bring up the map. Okay, those four lots right there. That's the rub. And if I understand it correctly, the rub is the setback. So you wouldn't be able to do your school, your mechanic school. Is that correct? Yeah. You already have it. What about the playground thing? But if you went for that, those zoned at R1 would be a hamperage. It would stop you from doing that, wouldn't it? The setback? Oh, fair enough. That's the only part I was going to add, because I remember Dennis had mentioned that one corner that he wanted to use for the diesel school and also to have heavy equipment for the kids, to the men, the women, the people to practice on it. And that was all I wanted to say. It would make sense to zone those four if it's not going to impact anybody online here to the R2. So come back for that, get that over with. And then, everything else can be the way you want it to be. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comment? Please state your name when you come up.
I'm Lonnie Burns. I live on 120 of Otech. I want to know which four lots they're talking about changing over. Which four lots can I see them up there? Because I live directly behind the school. I face the parking lot. I face all the construction that just went on. When I was here the last time, we were fighting over a parking lot that they wanted to put next door to us. I want to know what's going on. Why can't they leave it just the way it is, build the houses, and take care of the roads? They don't take care of the roads. The roads are horrible. And as far as the water runoff, I agree with you. It goes down that road. We have ruts beyond ruts. It kills the cars. I've lived there 50 years.
Amen.
Do all these. Was that me?
No, it's
Speaking.
They do all this stuff, but they got to realize there's people living there. We're old, but there's young people there also. And as far as our deed's concerned, there's lots of things in the deed that they don't abide by. We have junk cars all over the place in that. We have chickens and dogs and everything else. They don't take care of their property. So I want to know what they're going to do and where do they want this? And you're talking about doing all this with trucks and all that stuff. You should see the parking lot when I'm sitting out on my deck and they have school and the boys come in with all their trucks that are souped up at 2:00 in the afternoon. You're certainly, if you're asleep, you're awake.
So just to answer your question about the lots, it's the four that adjoin the yellow section on the property there. So it's 1, 2, 3, and then the one that touches it, just the tip.
On that side.
And all the TVs, I mean, they're all the same, but you see the yellow?
Yes.
1, 2, 3, the blue cross hatched?
Yes.
Those are the four, I believe, that we're saying, all of them are currently, for the purpose of this hearing, under consideration.
Right.
But now what we're discussing here is just those four. The purpose for that would be so that the school can put another small expansion in on the property they already have. So within the yellow area, so we back behind, I'm not sure exactly where you live, but I'm guessing it's probably down near the front. So that big section there in the back that's kind of open, I'm imagining if they were to put an expansion, that's where they try to put it behind the building. And then the reason for the rezoning is just so that when they build there are setback requirements they're supposed to have with residential.
I understand that, but like you say, they do those four. So then they got to come back and they want to get more because they're going to build this, they're going to build that.
Well, that's the reason not to do it all at once, so that, again, we can
They need
have the residents come back, and if they say this is too much, they really put their foot down, then we'll understand. And if they do start aggressively expanding, then the Board of Commissioners can, we can step in. But if we were to change them all at once, then, it would be free reign for them to do basically
Yeah.
whatever they want. And so that's why I'm in favor of changing the 4. I think a small expansion makes sense if they want to do that, because they have
But
all
that's
these new
gonna
students coming
create
in.
a lot of water runoff. And
I don't-
all that stuff is coming down. I know they have all that taken care of, but it if you live there, you know what I was talking about.
Well,
I've been there for 50 some years, looking at that and
Yeah.
seeing what they do and do it behind our backs. This is the first time we ever got notification that something was going on. The last time they wanted to put a parking lot in, it was a big surprise. So as residents, we don't need the surprises.
Yeah. Well,
You know what I mean?
What we would say is they're looking on at bringing that road up to code. That was something he's discussing because they want to turn it over to the township, and included in that would be stormwater management. It would be a lot of the things that would address the concerns with
Right.
the washouts. And
Well,
stuff
when
like that,
we
bringing it up to
first
the
moved there,
PennDOT code.
they said that the roads were going to be taken over by the township in 5 years. We're there now 50 some years.
And that's why I don't want to rezone until, we see
I-
that
I
happen
don't-
too.
yeah.
If
I
we
don't
see
wanna
we can
rezone
slip
it
on
either.
their part, then, I would.
I don't even want to rezone those 4. Sorry.
No, please go on.
Well, that's my biggest thing. I take care of my property. It's one of the nicest ones in the whole development. And they let the chickens come in, they let the junk cars, junk trailers, everything in there. That's not what I want. As a taxpayer, I'm taking care of my property. It decreases my property value. So if you get all this other junk in here, we're going to have more problems. I think I said my piece. Sorry.
Thank you. Any other public comment? Frank?
How you doing? Frank Riley Township resident.
Thank you, Frank.
I've been up here, I think since the first time MCTI came here, and I mentioned the fact that I thought they should at least do, at least be granted half. But if they're willing to do just the 4 bottom ones, it seems to me, if they can build on the others and keep them R1, that's the best way to go because they can do their building and there's minimal worries in the future for any kind of strange development going on. Thank you.
Just be real clear, so we don't have chickens or junk cars. That's not the school. I think she's referring to the house in which we have no control over. Yeah, so
It's in our deed.
the school has no control over.
It's in their deed too.
It's everybody's deed.
Any other public comment? Anybody online?
Yes,
Please raise your hand prior to speaking.
I'm not on camera. What?
Can you tell us your name, please?
It's Patrice Linucci again.
Go ahead.
I would just like to know when they expanded the last time with that R2, R1 questionable lot that's a strange shape, and they had their problems with that variance, did they build before getting approval or did they pay the money in order to not have a problem? I just want to, can you clarify that for me?
I believe they paid and had approval before they built, or we wouldn't have allowed them to build.
In a perfect world.
Permits were not issued until they were given the zoning curing board variance, and they obviously combined the lot prior to the permits going out.
Because they're all subdivided lots, and if they truly wanted to do what they say and combine all the lots, because that's what they're saying, they can't just build, even if they wanted to without, wouldn't they have to rezone the whole plot over again? And they would have to adhere to the EPA setbacks of maybe if it's a wetland, it could be up to 75 feet towards any protected water source, creek, anything. Protected turtles, protected everything. So it's not our issue. Wouldn't it be the MCTI's issue to follow their ordinances and their codes and whatever, what like every builder would have to do?
They do. Everybody has to follow the code. They're discussing with us now, narrowing their scope and down to 4 lots possibly. So
Do any, period. We have so much damage in our neighborhood. It's horrific. And Natasha should recuse herself. She's the director of our neighborhood's board. And I don't know why she would want, I wrote her multiple letters asking her what she'd do about the damage that wasn't being handled now that she was the president or of the company that was overseeing our neighborhood. And I got no reply to that either. So that was months ago.
So I apologize because I didn't get an email and I have no fiduciary duty with MCTI in any way.
You and another board member are seem to be pushing for this, and the manager. And I spoke to the young man at length about my concerns, and he has disappeared like a ghost. Mr. Paul.
I'm the one commenting on the zoning ordinance.
You, the nice young man at the end, called me. We had a long discussion. He told me all like things that no person would want built next to them. And I just don't understand why you can't just say it won't be possible in this spot. Period.
Ready to.
is there any other comments? Anybody else, Jared?
Anyone else wishing to speak, please raise your hand.
No. Seeing none. Leo, how do we go about if we want to offer the 4 lots instead of all of it?
You would do a motion to close the hearing. You would vote to deny the current proposed zoning amendment. And probably at the next meeting, so we don't have to amend the agenda, would authorize the solicitor to amend or to modify the zoning request to include only the 4 lower lots and then send it to the planning commissions and advertise it for public hearing. So you would vote to deny the current pending ordinance. And again, you could vote to amend the ordinance. If you were not inclined to amend the ordinance this evening, then I would ask it to be put on at the next meeting.
So we close the hearing first.
Close the hearing first.
Okay. Is there any other discussion before we close the hearing? I'll make a motion that we close the hearing.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? And I'll make a motion that we amend the ordinance to include the 4 lots. Is that what you mean?
No, it would be a motion to deny ordinance 2026-03.
Okay.
To deny that.
Okay. Sorry. I'll make a motion that we deny ordinance 2026-03 adopting the rezoning.
Second.
Discussion? Public comment? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
How many nays was that? So just,
Just me, or was you two?
okay,
2.
okay. Motion carried. And then,
Now, at this point, the board would have an option. Option 1 would be to move to amend your agenda to authorize the solicitor to draft a revised ordinance showing that only the 4 lots are being rezoned from R1 to R2, to send it to the planning commission, both Pocono Township and Monroe County, and to properly advertise that motion for that ordinance for consideration by the board, or you could just have it placed on the next agenda. So if the board is comfortable amending the agenda, that's fine. If not, we can just place it on the next agenda.
well, I'll make a motion that we amend our agenda. Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Motion carried. Okay, then I'll make a motion that we have our solicitor redraft the ordinance to cover the 4 lots, if that's acceptable to you, and advertise for a public hearing and pass it around to the various planning commissions.
That's correct.
Seconded by Natasha. Discussion? Any public comment? Anybody online?
Yes, please. My hand's up. Patrice Lanucci.
Yes, go ahead.
Can there please be put restrictions upon what 4 lots and what they can do with them? Because when I pointed out in my email to some people that it would be for diesel, which would be the worst possible thing to put near environmentally protected things, then the next video I saw MCTI spokesperson speaking about how it would be the welding program. So there is a little bait and switch that goes on, and I'd like it to be in writing because stuff does change once things are put into people's hands, and it cannot we cannot get back what we have lost. And yes, change does have to happen, but not at my son's expense inheritance and not at other people's ability to enjoy what we have and what nowhere else on earth has. So let's try to preserve what we have with restrictions or ordinances. I don't know what you have to do, Leo, but you can't just, the planning commission just said approve, no restrictions. That's what's in your book, Natasha. I watched the meeting. So somebody please, that can't be how things are passed in such precious forests and waterlands. Please.
Thank you. I think you're done, Donna, right?
We gotta vote.
Any other comments?
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's
I
okay.
thought we were already there. Any other comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
And now, Donna, you're excused. Thank you.
Thanks, Donna. Thank you. Thank you, Donna. Changes on the minutes. Before I make the motion for the minutes, I just wanted to make a correction to the minutes if that I abstained from the vote because I had a perceived conflict of interest, and that just didn't get added in the minutes. If everybody's okay with that.
Yep.
So I'll make a motion that we approve the minutes of March 2nd of the regular meeting of the Board of Commissioners. Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion? Public comment? Anybody online? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. And on the financial transactions, I had a question on the Cintas bill. Is that part of the new contract or is that something different?
Something different. Yeah, that's hoodies, not part of the clothing contract.
That's an outside purchase. They were the cheapest out of.
So we're buying these outright or is this a rental?
This is
Okay.
just
So
outright
Cintas
purchase.
was the best.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Then I make a motion that we approve the financial transactions through March 16th as presented, including ratification of expenditures in the amount of $558,710.74 for the following accounts: general fund, sewer operations, gross payroll, capital reserve, and construction fund. Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion? Any public comment? Anyone online? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And next we have the spring cleanup. I don't know if want to read that off. Who wants to do that?
I can read. Yeah. Just each bid we're reading. So that's got to go LLC. Bid $28 per cubic yard for a total of 19,600. For spring, fall total would be 11,200. Total bids 30,800. GNS container service bid 4275 for 29,925 for the spring, 17 and $100 for the fall for a total bid of $47,025. Marquee Roll-Off Container Inc. bid $26.99 per cubic yard for $18,893 for the spring, $10,796 for the fall for a total of $29,689. Waste Management no bid. JP Mascaro bid $47 per cubic yard for $32,900 on the spring and $18,800 for the fall. Total bid $51,700. So the lowest bid was Marquee Roll-Up at $26.99 for the total of $29,689.
Do we have a motion to award the spring cleanup?
Yeah, I'll make the motion to award the Pocono Township Spring Fall Cleanup bid to Marquee Roll-Up Container Inc.
Is there a second? I'll second that. Discussion?
Do we really fill that many dumpsters with our cleanup day? 10 in the fall and like 17 in the spring? That's a lot of dumpsters.
Yeah.
Holy moly.
Sometimes more, sometimes less, but that's a pretty good number.
Yeah. It goes up and down. Sometimes people have even dropped off boats. Literally full fiberglass boats.
All right. My eyes popped when I saw the number. I was looking at how, yeah, I mean, that's a lot of dumpsters. I didn't realize, we had that much traffic through. I thought when I came down last year for maybe the fall to drop stuff off, people were telling me it was slow. But it's great to hear. People are taking advantage of it.
It goes up and down. It's really interesting to watch the operation in action. Those guys are moving.
But so let me just ask, if it does go up and down, are we charged for what we end up using, or are we charged what, the price that we're agreeing to now under the bid?
We're charged with what we use.
Okay.
Any public comment? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. And John, can you tell us what this is about before we do that?
I will try, and I say try because I'm not sure what number 2 is about, but I can tell you what the overall thought process was here. 2 meetings ago, you authorized purchase of the wooden timber bridge for a cost not to exceed $116,000. As soon as I went back to the supplier and I got specific specifications on it, I determined that the depth of the bridge for a 70-foot span was too deep for where we were going across. So we had to shorten the bridge to 50 feet. So I got a new quote at 50 feet, which includes installation, construction of the bridge, delivery, and installation for a total price, which is in your packet, of $101,021. So we may not have to do anything since you already authorized before that I could spend up to $116,000. But I at least wanted you to know that the project has changed, but this is cheaper than where we were before. So I don't think you need to do anything with the second item. And then when you go down to the 6th bullet point, there's a motion to approve the purchase of the proposed pedestrian bridge. I don't think you have to do that either.
Great. Thank you. I don't think so either. Unless our lawyer tells us different.
No. Stayed under the maximum authorized amount. It's just a change in design of the bridge, so I think you're fine.
Next, I'll make a motion to waive Pavilion 1 fees for the Monroe County Coroner's Office for May 30th. Is there a second? Second by Natasha. Discussion? Public comment? Anybody online? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. I'll make a motion to waive Pavilion 3 fees for the Pocono Mountain West Girls Wrestling Team for May 3rd. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mike. Discussion?
Congratulations. They did really well this
Oh, nice. Public comment? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
All right, next one is me. I have a motion to schedule a workshop on the police cost recovery ordinance and the in lieu of open space fees changes. I know we've received a lot of comment from the public, from Safe Monroe, from various lobbying groups about the police cost recovery ordinance. I'd like to schedule a public workshop to air those publicly, rather than just, in letters submitted to the township, privately, and give the commissioners an opportunity to talk about it, in a little more detail before we move ahead with anything. I'd also like to, discuss the in lieu of open space fees changes that we authorized the solicitor to draft at the last meeting. I want to make sure that we have the details of that ironed out before he starts, picking that all apart to make sure that, it actually reflects what the board wants so that we're not just going back and forth with him over email. So I'll make a motion to schedule a workshop on the police cost recovery in lieu of open space fee changes. Do I have a second?
I'll second it for discussion. I'm not really sure we need one on the cost recovery. I don't know where we're going with that yet. It's kind of been pushed to the side.
Well, I wouldn't say it's been pushed to the side. I mean, we're still. Yeah, he's drafting the fee schedule now, and we just want to iron out those last details. So I'm just proposing both. If we're going to be here talking about one, we might as well talk about the other. We certainly need to discuss the in lieu of open space fees changes. And I think discussing the police cost recovery ordinance in a public setting in a little more detail would also help to maybe alleviate some of the concerns from members of the public as well.
Madam President?
Sure.
Update from my seat. I've had meetings on both of these issues. We met, Lisa and myself from our office met with Amy and John. We started discussing the in lieu of. We are scheduled for a revisit on that this week. So depending on this motion and what the board decides, we're scheduled for Wednesday to dig a little deeper into it. I think we identified the issues and some of the concerns, but direction from the board would certainly be helpful. With regard to the police recovery ordinance, Jared, the chief, and myself had a conversation also last week, a Zoom conference, and discussed that. We're not prepared to make a proposal this evening. But again, if there's more guidance from the board, certainly we would take that into consideration. But we have started the process by way of meeting, identifying issues, and having what I thought were some very good conversations.
Well, then rather than spend the time at a meeting to do that, perhaps a workshop would be best.
I'd rather wait on the workshop though until they give us information.
I think they're waiting for us to give them information. So
They're meeting about the in lieu of fees.
But we can schedule after they meet.
Yeah, I mean, if we're scheduled for this Wednesday to discuss those further, we can give you a proposal as sort of an outline to start a conversation. That would be fine. And then on the recovery, that's police recovery fees. That's up to the board. And I say that because there are two ways, generally speaking, to accomplish the cost recovery. One is a fixed fee. The other would be on an actual hourly basis, depending on what the board would prefer.
I just want to add on, from my perspective, I'm also still waiting on, and I've talked to Jared about this. Maybe, he can give everyone an update, but I've asked for projections for future budgets, similar to what we had with the sewer presentation, kind of a 5-year outlook. And I think, Jared, correct me if I'm wrong, I think we'll have that in a few weeks for the general fund. Is that correct?
General fund is about 3 weeks out. Yeah. Sewer fund will be updated. Pat will talk a little bit more tonight about the 537 requested changes, and PFM should have the updated sewer fund, kind of like what you saw last meeting, but more updated with some additional 537 changes in just about a week or two.
I would, would you entertain voting on these separately? Separating these two issues? I mean, personally, I'm not sure if I'm ready to schedule a workshop on the police costs recovery ordinance. If the board wants to do a workshop on the open space fees, that's another issue, but kind of bundling them, I'd rather vote on them separately.
I mean, the last time we had a workshop, we talked about, 3 or 4 different things. I just didn't want to bring everybody down here for, 10-minute conversation. If we're going to be here talking, I figured we might as well talk about everything that, is currently up in the air. If there was anything else that anybody would want to add to this, I would encourage them to voice it now. I just want to make sure that we're not wasting everybody's time.
Well, personally, I'd rather just do both at a meeting. That's my personal preference. I mean,
At a meeting?
yeah, I mean, we've already discussed the police cost recovery ordinance at multiple meetings. We've had feedback from the public at multiple meetings. I mean, the woman from Safe Monroe, that was at a public meeting, and it's in the record. So I don't know what else there's to discuss on the police cost ordinance personally. And like you said, if the open space fee conversation is 10 minutes, then I don't know why we need a separate workshop. I feel like we could discuss that at a meeting personally.
I don't think open space is going to be 10 minutes because I don't think we agree on our approach. I don't know.
I would just like to vote on them separately personally. If we want to workshop on open space, then I'm okay with that. But like I said, on the police cost thing, I want to see the budget projections I'm waiting on. I've been asking for those, and I think we have a timeline on that. And
sorry, go ahead.
No, I just, if you're forcing me to vote on both of them, then, I'm just asking that we vote on them separately.
I mean, I'm open to scheduling far enough out that you'll have your budget projections in time. I don't think there's any particular rush to get this stuff done. I do know that, again, the comments from Safe Monroe, I reached out to them, with our draft to see if they could provide some additional notes for us, anything else that they would like to see changed. And, when I get that response from them, I'd like to bring that to the board, so we could talk about it in a public setting. That would be the point of the workshop, to discuss Safe Monroe's comments, discuss any other potential changes we'd like to make before moving forward. That's just why I'd like to get it in there. If that's not something that, you're interested in doing, I don't really understand why. I mean, it's something that we're working towards. I don't know why we're pushing it, but I suppose I'm open to separating them, if that's what would make you most comfortable.
I'm curious what the rest of the board thinks. Does anyone else have any thoughts?
I'm not in favor of any of them, so.
Natasha?
I mean, I'm okay either or. I mean, I would much rather discuss it in a public meeting as well, because I think that there's more attendance for the public meetings on Mondays than there are for workshops. Again, kind of like I said before too, they're still kind of working through. You have legal and engineering kind of working through some of these things. So I would like to wait until we get more information to schedule the workshop. Matt's still waiting on the budget for the police cost recovery, but we're already 10 steps ahead on that. But if that's what we're waiting on to get more information, I think we should wait.
Yeah, I mean, I'm fine with scheduling after, we're expecting to have this. I mean, Leo's saying by, Wednesday they'll have their meeting, and probably within a week we'll have that. And then Jared's saying 3 weeks. So I'm open to scheduling, like sometime mid next month, if that's what we want to do. I don't have a particular timeline in mind. That's why I wanted to, have to bring it before the board. But again, if we want to break it out, we can break it out. I don't have an issue with that, but I don't really see any reason to. It seems to me if we're coming down here for one, we might as well come down here for both.
What about Natasha's point in terms of attendance at workshops compared to public meetings? That I still think that these can both be discussed at public regular meetings.
Well, but everybody's complaining the meetings go too long, and then you want to put a workshop in the meeting. I mean,
I don't want to drag stuff out. You know, our meetings are recorded for people who are interested. You know, the workshops are also recorded for people who want to refer back to them. You know, they're live streamed. You know, there are other ways to attend. There are ways to watch them back if there's something that happens there that's of particular interest. It's all you know, it's all done transparently. You know, whether or not it's done at a traditional meeting or during a workshop. The main goal of the workshop is just, again, to bring down the time, because what's not transparent is if it ends up at the bottom of the agenda and we don't end up talking about it until, you know, 9 o'clock at night or something like that. You know, I would rather it be, you know, discussed in a, you know, 1 or 2 hour workshop where it's, you know, bite sized rather than having to scrub through, you know, however long to find it. But and again, like I don't want to be here till 11 o'clock at night talking about this stuff. I'd rather get it done in a workshop so I can get home to my son.
Any public comment?
Frank Reilly, Township President. I think a workshop would work good because not everybody can always make the meetings on Monday nights. And then you get to hear from maybe potentially more people. And you like, you know, like Alan said, you don't have to have these meetings till 11, 12 o'clock at night. But, you know, even if you don't have the workshop, you can at least get, you know, people's opinions on the night of, you know, Monday night. So that seems to make more sense. And on the workshops, I would hope that the resorts might even come and say if they have any other alternatives to what you guys have come up with, or ways to maybe, I mean, you know, anything like that. Because I mean, the public doesn't get to hear what they're saying. So if the resorts want to say, you know,
Well, they're here every day anyway.
right, but they don't necessarily come up to the podium, and maybe they would do that during a, you know, workshop or something. I don't know.
Yeah, that would be my goal too, because we've been getting a lot of private correspondence from them. I'd like them to get that, you know, testimony before us here as well, in public, so that the public's aware of what their you know, their concerns are. So the motion's on the table. It's been seconded. I'm gonna say, let's go ahead and vote. And you know, if it gets voted down, it gets voted down, and we can break it out then potentially, or okay.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
I'm a yes for the record.
So Mike and Natasha were nay, right? So motion carried.
So what day do we think would be best for that?
For me, can we do May? It's April's.
Yeah, that gives Jared time to finish out the projections, and we do May 5th, May 7th, May 6th. I think I'm this far out. I don't have much on my calendar yet.
Would May 5th at 5 o'clock work for everyone?
May 5th?
Nope.
May 5th at what time?
They said no.
I said no.
Oh.
The 7th? What about the 7th? Oh, sorry. No on the 7th?
Well, you got open, Mike.
He's on vacation.
I'm on vacation.
Oh, that whole week? Oh,
This
okay.
week.
Okay, nice.
Yeah, and
Okay.
where we're going, I don't think I can Zoom.
What about May 12th?
I actually have something. I'm sorry. The 13th or 14th, I'm fine.
I know you said no, Ellen, April, or no, April, Ellen. Could we do the last week, or are you booked solid right up till the end? Like if we wanted to do the 30th or the 29th or something.
I actually have a conference I'm going to be at 27th to 29th.
What days did you say you had, Matt?
I said the 13th or 14th.
Either of those work for me.
Mike?
What?
13th or 14th?
May 13th?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Natasha, does that work for you?
Well, what is it, the 13th or 14th?
May 13th at 5 o'clock.
Since we're doing the in lieu of and police cost recovery, are we gonna have John, Leo, and Paul there for questions? Because that was my reason for voting no was.
14th at night.
Yeah, the professional piece involved in that.
Can Amy make it, John?
Before, but I can check.
Tentatively hold it for May 13th at 5 p.m. Leo, are you available?
I am.
This far out, we could always move the date if if it ends up being a problem,
Do we
but
want chief there for police calls? Are you available?
Yep.
No? Alright,
What did we come up with?
the 13th, I think.
do we want to do 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock? Get out of here earlier, or
5 is generally the
5 is what we usually do for workshops? Okay.
You vote on that?
Yeah, we voted.
Okay, great.
Alright,
Hey,
park board.
yeah, I think, Jen's not here, so I don't know. I thought they were talking about Wednesday. Do you know, Jared, what day she was gonna do the park board meetings? Thought she said Wednesday, or is this something that needs to be tabled?
This needs to be tabled. We haven't heard back from all the I don't want to say applicants, all the board
The board
members
members.
for nailing down a date.
All right, we'll skip that then. On the next one, Leo, did you have a chance to look at the contract for Coast Stream?
It's this is the same contract that we already approved. This is just phase 2 of the phase 1 that was planned for capital improvements of coast streams.
Well, we didn't approve it, right? We approved
Obviously, to answer the question, if the same one we've already approved is fine, but I have not taken a look at this one.
So it looked like the terms were like a link, not necessarily.
Yeah, so I haven't.
So when you said we approved it, I thought we approved phase 1 and we didn't approve any other phases yet.
Correct.
Okay.
It's the same contract. We just haven't approved the financial expenditure.
Okay.
Yeah, assuming it's the same contract, it's fine, but if you're asking me to tell you it's the same contract, I'm not in that position tonight. But I doubt that the terms and conditions have changed.
Yeah, just for clarification, this was when I explained to the board, I believe 2 months ago, when we passed the first portion of it, I said I really wanted to pass it to make sure we vetted it and it functioned the way we expected. We're pleased with it. I've talked to the team. So this is the second piece that I explained would be forthcoming if and when we were comfortable with the first phase.
Yep. So I just wanted to know what the termination clause is. That's what I'm concerned about. So I don't know.
And I don't recall that because I haven't looked at it in a while.
Do you know how many years the term of this is or any? And does this need to be approved tonight or are we on a time constraint?
We're not under a time constraint, no. If Leo wants to look at the contract, if there's any other questions you have, I can get them.
Just the terms and, termination, how you get out of it and how long we're in it. I assume it's gonna be forevermore because we're changing our system, right?
The beauty of this, as I explained last time, is hardware still remains in our pump stations. This is like a cloud-based subscription. So if we ever decided to go away from them, we would be able to go elsewhere. The problem with the elsewhere is becoming that it's more costly and we're not able to get the service that we want without paying big subscription fees. Whereas this is cloud-based and we have ongoing contact if we need to update anything. And so far, we've been very impressed with their service.
So you said subscription based, but it looks like they want their money up front.
So the money up front is for them to go into each site and bring them on board. Once they're on board, then it's just the annual fee, which is included.
So it's this much every year.
No, not the 68, not 63,840. It's broken out separately. If you look under installation services and infrastructure, they're the one-time costs. And then the monitoring fees that are at the back of the quote are the the monitoring costs. The ongoing services total of 13,200.
That's every year,
That's correct.
but not these other stuff.
No, the other stuff is the one-time fee for them to go, and very similar to, structured very similar to what they did at Pump Station 5. There was the initial site work that they had to do. They connected their equipment, and then there's the monitoring fee that continues.
I don't.
This
know
was
how-
in the budget too. This was all
Yeah.
part of the budget.
Yep. I don't know how the board feels. I just would like to know what that termination clause is and the length of time that we're locked in.
And Leo, we approved phase one at the January 20th meeting.
Does anybody have a problem waiting or?
No.
Right, Natasha?
Yeah. As long as Patrick's on
No, I'm
board.
fine.
Okay.
Want you to be comfortable.
He's the expert.
Can we put it on the next meeting agenda? Will you have time, Leo?
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, that, I already have it noted.
Thank you. Okay, on the next one, I know, Leo, you looked at the Public Works uniform contract. And we didn't have numbers. I see there's something scratched in here, but I still don't, this is not a
Bring
formal contract.
bring it up now.
So I don't think we're ready.
That is the formal contract.
It's not even filled out,
The prices are in there.
but this is a monthly agreement and I don't know how much it's gonna be a month, taxes, fees.
Pat's got a whole presentation for you tonight.
Oh, there we go.
You're up, Pat. Are you gonna do it now? Because I don't wanna make a motion before we know it.
Well, I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Now we can see the show.
Yes, I know the board was interested in the comparison between uniforms versus purchased. So with the help of my Public Works Assistant Foreman, who did most of this work, thank you, Mitch, who's actually here in the audience. I see there's several Public Works folks here. It's pretty self-explanatory, really, from my standpoint. The benefit of the Public Works Uniform Program is not only a cost savings to the township compared to purchasing similar clothing items, but it's also a benefit of uniformity. It reduces the amount of time that the guys have to wash the clothes. I mean, you can go through the slides. It's all laid out probably better than I can explain it. But, we spent quite a bit of time, both my foreman, myself, and then Jared got involved as well, analyzing the costs and then also the other benefits, the uniformity, the quality of the clothing, the advantages of not bringing severely soiled clothes home to your washer and dryer, upsetting your spouse by, especially when we're paving and doing those things. So there was a number of benefits. The other thing is there is a provision in the CBA that speaks to the uniform as opposed to, purchasing items and some other capital items that we weren't really prepared to address if we didn't go with the uniform approach would be that our washer is currently not working at the DPW. And the dryer that is there is not a functioning commercial grade dryer. The benefit of this is they come in, they pick up the soiled clothes, they put your clean clothes in place. The soiled clothes that you have, if they're damaged, if they're ripped or torn, there's a separate bin compartment that you put those into. They take those clothes, they repair them, they bring them back to you. It's a pretty neat system, and there's a lot of other clients I know that they have up in this area. So they were
I think very competitive when you look at the costs of doing it this way as opposed to the purchase price.
Is that presentation in our packet? Because I can't see those numbers. Do we have that to look at?
It's not in your packet. I can zoom in, or we can take a quick recess. We can print out packets.
When I looked at the contract and Leo looked at it, there was a lot of, I see you scratched out
That
60 months and put 36 months, but that's still a long time to be committed to this. And then all the other fees that go with it that are hidden if you forget to cancel it, if you don't cancel it.
Well, they took out the auto renew clause for us. So all the concerns that were voiced had been changed.
So this, what I have in this packet, did you initial this?
No, that is from the Cintas rep.
Have you seen this, Leo?
Yes.
And did they address all the concerns? Because I still don't see a monthly charge here. I don't know what we're going to be paying. What are we paying a month? I assume it's monthly. I don't know.
So overall on the screen, if you take a look, what stemmed from this is ultimately we were not providing what the union calls for. That being said, we don't provide a commercial washer dryer as required in the contract or the correct amount of uniforms.
I'm sorry, but I've never seen that in the contract. It says a washer and dryer in the union contract?
Yes, if we are to provide the laundry service, then we have to provide it versus
A service, not a washer and dryer.
So if we go with the service, they launder it. But if we purchase it outright, we have to provide a washer dryer detergent for the. That came directly from Brian Taylor.
Well,
Ellen, to answer your question about the monthly cost, just doing the math there, the 14,824 divided by 12, that's $1,235 a month, roughly.
And just to compare apples and apples, and it's kind of hard some of these things to do that. But to Jared's point, a company like Cintas, as large as it is, has several different washer and dryer apparatus, big commercial washer and dryers that they use for different industries. So the washer that they'll use for our guys is suited for that kind of work. It'll do a much better job than if we, the township, had to go out and buy a washer and dryer and try to use that for the purposes of, like I said, it's not always, this time of the year it's not as bad, but in the summertime we're doing more outside stuff and we're doing paving and tar, those kind of things. You get some pretty soiled stuff.
And then you have to pay somebody to wash the clothes at the garage as opposed to sending them out.
There's a time, that's correct.
Yeah, you're having one of the guys is the laundry guy, and it's ridiculous. That's a ridiculous thing to do.
Well, what happened to? I still don't. There's a lot of numbers up there that I can't see. What are they?
Sure. Yeah. Show us the whole thing.
So overall, Cintas annually would be $14,824.80. Township annual model would be $28,566.96. The first year, because we would require the new washer and dryer, that would be $37,650.60.
Where are you getting these numbers from? I'm looking at this paper. It says census annual cost 14,000, and then it says township's annual cost 28,000.
That's how much it would cost if we did our.
Where's that coming from?
If you take
Where's
a look
the
at
data?
page 6, where you can see it says option A, township managed uniform program. There's the breakdown and how we get to the $37,650.
So it's roughly just over $1,000 a month, and that's
It's $1,400 a month,
So
and that
$1,400
provides
a month.
them 11 uniforms, and it does give them the opportunity to mix and match. So if they want, 5 pair of pants and 4 sets of shorts, they can adjust that, no extra charge. It handles all repairs as well, or any permanently soiled items. It is the Carhartt ripstop, so it is ultimately safer. It's, it provides a better image when the guys are, getting out of the trucks or working. Perfect example is
Didn't we buy them, Carhartt?
we've purchased Carhartts throughout the years, not the ripstops. But perfect example would be this picture here. Nobody matches. You've got ripped pants, not laundered, and it's ultimately not the image that we're going for. I did include a bunch of other townships that are currently utilizing Cintas within Monroe County is Toby, Hannibal, Pocono Borough, and Price. And Leo, I believe some of your other townships are on here.
Are these going to be logoed for the township? The uniforms?
They will be logoed, and their names will be on there too. And it's not the big, thick, clunky uniforms like from the 70s that you're thinking, Mitch and that big, thick patch or anything like that. It's a much cleaner approach. Credit to Mitch. He put all this together, and we went back and forth. We reached out to UniFirst, we reached out to Dempsey to get the best prices, and ultimately they could not provide the service the Cintas does for the best price, or they didn't offer the ripstops. In that, if anybody noticed on the news last Thursday, Cintas now purchased UniFirst as well, so that kind of combines that into that.
This contract is going to lock in our price though. So if they decide that they bought out a competitor, and
So that's a good question. It's
Not locking in the price. Price is going to vary.
It's a 3-year price.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I believe the contract said, and Leo, correct me if I'm wrong, that replacement cost is at whatever the market value is, not what they quoted you here. If they have to replace something because it got ruined.
So the replacement is handled, but if somebody, if whether it's in excess or something like that, where it can't be, somebody's purposely damaging their own uniform, at that point they would charge us. But this gives you the seasonal flexibility, whereas if we did it, it would come more out of our pocket. Same thing with the branding. These are embroidered, these have the ripstops, and it takes some of the administrative burden out of it. There's been some back and forth with what certain employees want versus what some don't. Some want shorts, some don't. But if we buy for one, we have to buy for everyone. It needs to be fair. So doing this, letting them, change whether they want a set of pants or a set of shorts or a long sleeve short or a short sleeve shirt, to be able to have that flexibility, because every employee is different. Some employees are more cold, some employees are more hot. And same thing with the repairs and replacement and cleaning burden. This, obviously this is what they do for a living versus if somebody, right now they're taking them home and, the guys have to pay for their detergent, and technically that's supposed to come out of the township burden. We did get prices on a commercial washer and dryer, and it's quite expensive. Same thing with the detergent program that is broken out on option A between annual electricity and detergent. But ultimately, this gives us the most flexibility and saves us money, and is a center aim to meet the terms of the CBA and make all the employees happy. And
to uniform.
We've got 4 of them in back.
I personally think that with as hard as they work, laundering their uniforms is a big thank you.
Get them laundered. Yeah.
No problem with then having the ability for them to switch them out, I think is a good plus for them.
So what they're wearing now, like the lime green, or I call it yellow, that's what they're going to have. And pants, or shorts or whatever.
Yeah, whatever they'd like. Everything that the township wears is we're OSHA exempt. When it comes to MUTCD flagging, we're not exempt from that aspect. So it would have to be the lime green or the orange. Orange would be the preferred color with the reflective X and lines in the back. So it meets the ANSI federal standard.
I thought lime green was the going thing because everybody I see has lime
What,
green.
what was interesting,
And Dot has lime green.
what was interesting with the time that I spoke with the rep is in the fall, in the Poconos in particular, when the foliage starts to change color. I didn't even think about this. When the foliage starts to change color, there's a period of time where that lime green color kind of blends into the underbrush. Imagine guys out in a rural road flagging, let's say we're doing road work, whereas the orange really stands out. Oh, even in fall when you have fall foliage.
Or it looks like the barrel that you're standing next
Yeah,
to.
that's what, yeah. So
Orange is actually now the federal standard. Once they change, so if you notice now, PennDOT has amber and green lights now that alternate colors, and that was because of that. When it's snowing or any of that pure white background, you just don't see the light like you used to. I don't know if it's distracted driving or what it is.
And did the majority of the guys want this?
Yes.
yeah, we got very good feedback from
Very
the
good.
majority of the
Yeah.
guys.
I mean, I personally wouldn't wash those clothes in my washer
Yeah.
either.
Yeah.
You know,
Well,
it was,
and
it was
that's
a discussion
the
too.
issue.
What, you know, we went back and forth and talked about it, and the more we talked about it, the more this made sense. And when you lay it out like this and really go through the study, it seems to be a no-brainer. It's cheaper, it's better, it's going to
Yeah.
create.
I'm having a hard time with the cheaper only because Taylor did a thing and that we were told purchasing was cheaper. So that's why I'm
Yeah,
The problem was it wasn't everything that we were supposed to provide. It was bits and pieces, and it caused a lot of consternation between some of the guys. Some things didn't fit. It was a lower quality, and either the color didn't hold up, or because it wasn't embroidered, it was just a vinyl melt
was
type on. And some people use Tide, and some people use
spit.
yeah. So when you look at that picture, nobody matches. There's ripped pants, there's beyond stained clothes in there. So, what is the image that we want to provide for Pocono
So Leo,
Township?
I'm gonna ask you again. I already asked you and I forgot.
That's all right. The only thing I didn't see in here that was my comment is I would like to see, and if they're amenable, they've been amenable to the other comments. Reducing the term, because they're investing money up front, so I can understand, but they reduced the term. There's no automatic renewal, which I appreciate. There's no indemnification, which is big. A reasonable period of time was changed to 90 days, and if there's a material complaint, they have 90 days to comply. But I also asked Jared, and I don't know if you had a conversation with them, that the township be permitted to terminate the contract by giving 90 days.
That
advance
is in
notice.
there. Yes.
I didn't see that in
for
there.
service related issues. Let me bring it up here.
Well, even if for no issue, right? If we just want to terminate.
Well, that's what I had asked for.
Yeah.
I don't know that they're going to give us that.
Termination. The agreement has been revised to allow 90-day termination with notice.
Where are you reading that? What section?
I need to see that.
Number 10.
Do you have any of you?
No, it's in front of me here. I'm just trying to piece it together here. It says any complaints about the quality of service which have not been resolved in the normal course of business must be sent by registered letter to company's general manager. If company then fails to resolve any material complaint in 90 days, customer may terminate this agreement, provided all rentals are paid at the then current replacement. So it's not for any or no reason. It's only in the event that they fail to resolve an issue that we bring to their attention.
And then you have to buy out the other one. You don't turn them back, right? It says the current replacement values. Oh, or return.
Or return to the company in good and usable condition. So with that in there, there is a out provision for failing to comply with the terms of the agreement. So if they default, we have the right, and they don't correct the default, we have a right to terminate. But it's up to the board as to whether or not you want to push that any further.
I would, because what if somebody comes along and you can get it cheaper? Why? I don't want to be locked in for 3 years.
Well, I mean, I think with a lot of these, we're going to be locked in. UniFirst, both UniFirst and Dempsey asked for 5 years as well. When we looked at that, that was the universal standard. But Yeah, ultimately it's up to the board. So, but
I mean, like that's also not going to invest their money in the inventory and embroidering our clothes for a 12-month contract that they would never stay in business. I mean, they've already reduced it
It's not
from
a
60 to.
it's a 3-year contract.
I'm saying
Yeah.
though,
But
you're
they're
still
holding
saying
those
you want it
prices for
shorter.
3
They're not.
years.
They're already reduced
Yeah.
from 60 to 36. It's 3 years.
No, I'm saying I want us to be able to get out of it. With it, with notice, not, that's what I'm saying.
I think it's reasonable to expect them to want to be locked in, especially if they're doing all the embroidering and
Correct.
stuff like that. I don't think it's unreasonable to expect them to say,
They
you know,
want
we're doing
the
all this work up front
guarantee.
to
Yeah,
get
but
these
there's a
uniforms.
clause in
prepared.
there, if they're embroidered, we buy them. Did you see that, Leo? Somewhere in there was, if you embroider it, they can't resell them, they're ours.
Right.
We're gonna have to buy them out.
Well, if we cancel the contract, right, then we'd
No.
have to buy them out or.
No, they can't use them. When the contract ends, I think you're gonna buy them out.
I mean, at the end of the day, we need the uniforms. So even if you cancel this contract, they still need clothes to wear. So
I know.
they can still continue to wear those clothes if we had to buy them out.
But I'm saying you're gonna rent it and then you're gonna buy it in the end.
I think you're renting the service,
Yes.
the pickup, the laundering, the replacement of anything that's damaged. You're not. Yes, you're renting the clothes, but you're renting the service, and the service is what's worth the money in this, not the actual clothes.
I know, but the clothes are more money when you embroider them. That's what I'm saying. That's all. But I'm just saying, you should know what you're signing. That's all. Is there any public comment?
Kyle Hazelton, resident. In my almost 25-year career of working in industries across the board, most of the time I have an issued uniform. 9 times out of 10, it is serviced and contracted through Cintas. Never had an issue with them ever. My current job, they service all of our FR gear. That is it. I mean, they come in on a Monday, every Monday. If you don't have a uniform, you didn't put it in the bin. I mean, that's usually what it comes down to. So if they're gonna do it for 14 grand, I mean, that's a no-brainer, personally, especially if it's saving you almost another 10 and we're operating in a deficit. Just my 2 cents. Thanks.
Anybody else? Anybody online?
Frank Riley, Township Resident. Same thing. I've been in industries where we had to have uniforms as well. We always used Cintas, and we never had problems with them. Great company to work with, especially because these guys are also out in public, and it's important for the people in the township to see who's working, where, and how. Because if they're not in a normal uniform, you don't know who might be coming down your road, doing something they're not supposed to be doing. So definitely, I would say go with these guys.
That's a great point that I failed to point out. That was one of the big pushes that started our discussion, that we want guys to be identifiable to the public. Because obviously people want to know who's coming down their driveway.
Okay.
And
All
again,
those
just
in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
But I just want to throw a thank you to Mitch for putting all this together as well.
Yep, thank you. I'm not sure what this Gateway Equities is. Is that you?
Paul, the Gateway Equities zoning appeal is concerning.
So it's regarding parking. It's 2185 Route 611. They're going for a variance for the parking requirements. There has been some kind of issues with the property. It's changing owners. They're looking to kind of establish how many parking spaces they need in order to have the uses that they have on the property. Based on what they came in and what they want, they wouldn't meet those requirements, so they're looking to get a variance. They're just requesting relief in that regard. it would be kind of up to the board if you would like to determine if we should take a stance against it, or if you were just kind of let the zoning hearing board take the determination. And that would be if Leo would represent. It's their required 32. I think it's 24 for a period until they connect to the sewer. Then they'll gain, I believe it's 4 or 5 more. So it's relatively a small amount. That parking, that kind of area is kind of, they do have a hardship because PennDOT, when they widened 611, they added a curb there that kind of rearranged their parking.
Where is this? I'm not.
Do you know where
Hickory
the
Valley Farm, right?
the recycling center on 611, the DEP?
It's the one to the left of it.
Or not, what, you know what I mean?
Are the state police barracks, the old police barracks?
No, the other going the opposite direction. Yeah, across from the old state police barracks.
that's
The DEP building.
That's
Yeah,
right.
right past that. It's the old SNL.
Straight high.
Yeah. Yes. But there is a significant lien on that property as well. They are actually our number one outlier for sewer debt.
Oh,
So there,
So
this is all the first. I'm assuming it's something like this strip out here.
so they're on 611 and they don't have sewer?
they have it. They have not hooked up yet.
There's a municipal lien against the
Yeah, so
property.
that's the number one that Leo's been updating.
So
And they're-
this is the old police barracks?
No, right across the street.
Oh,
Those tiny.
A strip mall with the antique cars.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean they're currently parking on their septic system now.
It's just north of exit.
There's hardly any parking there right now.
There is very little.
Correct. Yes.
And to make it less, I don't see how that's gonna work.
We're just asking.
It is
for
very
support
tight.
to send Leo.
I think we should send Leo.
Put in, like they're asking for a change of use to, what are they going from and what are they going to?
So there has been kind of back and forth, and we have been pushing back on the parking requirement. They wanted a used car lot on the one tenant space. We've gone back and forth with them, told them there's not enough parking. The issue with the septic that Jared pointed out, things like that. There's just not enough room on the property. There's currently 2 restaurants, and they want to put a barber shop. It would be 1 chair in that. That's the majority of the reason. The kind of owner gave a lease to this person. They've kind of spent their life savings. So he's kind of backpedaling to make sure he can get this. There are 2 buildings. There's the strip mall that has the 2 restaurants in it, and then down towards the end there's a repair shop and the old Pocono Dessert. Pocono Dessert, there's no longer a tenant space in there, and then there's 2 empty spaces in the other strip mall. So because they are on the same parcel, they're allowed to share parking. The only issue would be kind of septic system where they are. They're not allowed to park on those. So when the property is up for sale, the new owner has come in, they're proposing to connect to the sewer, they will have more spaces to park.
So they need 32 for the entire parcel of the 3 buildings.
So there's
32 for the new business trying to come in.
there's
The art shop.
32 total spaces. There's only 2 buildings on that parcel. The very corner lot is a different individual.
But they've been operating with reduced parking for this long. The only reason it's coming up is because of the change in use.
The barber shop would be the new change of use from an empty tenant space to that barber shop, which would require, I believe it's 3 additional parking spaces. And then again, in the past, zoning officers, the parking requirements have changed because 611 has kind of widened and they've gotten reduction in parking spaces. So yeah, that's the main issue is because of that, the curb that was installed there. There used to be, they could pull directly in front of the building. Now they have to parallel park there.
It looks like the owner also owns the lot right next to it. It's like another small square there.
Yes, that's where the septic system is for.
Oh, that's what it was. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So are we saying they haven't had enough room to park for a long time?
They were originally issued zoning permits. They met those requirements. With the PennDOT change, they don't meet the requirements now. And with that additional new use, in order for me to issue a zoning permit, they would have to meet the requirements of today's standards. They don't currently do that.
And we're kind of, in my opinion, we're kind of handicapping them if,
Well, I'm wondering if that's a hardship that we.
oh, it's definitely a hardship. I mean, if you know,
It would-
because here's
it would
the thing,
be
no
up
matter,
for-
no matter what, the businesses are closed. So any business that would come in would require a change of use permit, which would invoke the parking requirements, which as a business owner and a landowner, they would never be able to rent those spots then. And that's not fair essentially to the homeowner because PennDOT took half of their parking away.
Yeah.
So PennDOT created the hardship that the business now has. But you said 32 to 24 when they connect to the central sewer, they'll gain probably 5 back.
I believe it's 4 or 5. I don't remember the exact.
So
number, but
they'll go to 28, 29 once they connect.
yes.
So reality is it's 3 or 4 is
Yeah.
the variance.
Yeah.
They're asking for a bigger variance right now because they don't have a choice.
Yes.
And just to add this little sliver in, I did receive a phone call and I spoke with a contractor, I believe it was last week, who was doing some recon on where the lateral connection is. And I told them there's a significant sewer lien against the property. And he said they were going to work on resolving that and connect to the sewer. So that's a good thing. So we've been trying to get them to connect for some time.
I've been in discussion with the owner and with the proposed owner and the contractor that's going to do the connection to the sewer. They are all in agreement that when the sale goes, obviously the lien will get paid off. The new owner will have to connect to the sewer. If they don't, obviously a new municipal lien would have to be kind of resolved. That would be kind of Leo and Pat would deal with that.
Is that lien
the-
recorded and updated?
Yes.
The lien, yes.
Yes.
I don't think they didn't require payment, so they won't close the property without being paid.
I know,
And-
but if we have the wrong amount of lien on it, then we're not gonna get paid, right?
So
Leo's on top of that.
yeah, so just last month, I provided the updated list of all the lien information from the invoicing from BCRA to Leo's office. We've been doing that pretty seamlessly.
Yeah, okay.
And actually our balances have been going down surprisingly.
Yeah, we're the best we've ever been with past due debt with
Nice.
sewer connection. Yeah.
So how does this usually work? I don't know, John, Leo, or Paul.
So
Is that if they go to the zoning hearing board and we don't dispute it, then
So I will show up to the hearing and provide facts. It would only be the case if you would like to take a position against it. Leo would come and we would argue against why that would or would not be. But we will present evidence to the zoning hearing board, kind of discuss it in nature, what the current uses are, what the parking requirements would be. If the zoning hearing board has questions, I will answer them at that time.
I mean, it's a hardship they didn't create themselves, right? I mean, but
Yeah, this is one that, I mean, I can go, but to take an objective, to object to this when they're trying to pay off the sewer lien, connect to the sewer, gain additional spaces, that's up to the board. I mean, but the hardship is PennDOT taking away several of their parking spaces by moving the right of way and the curbing into their parking area. It would be a tough one to object to be honest.
So all we're allowing for is just to let them have less parking spaces and still do whatever they want to do there.
Ultimately, it would be the decision of the zoning hearing board. The
Yeah,
variance
yeah.
they are requesting is just for the parking.
Okay. I mean, if the business owner's confident that they'd be fine, like I don't see any reason to object to it. If they're still comfortable going in there with the limited parking, then I don't see why we need to step in and say anything. Just let them go before the board and let it.
Again, if
Make their decision.
this would be just for the uses, their variance would be granted for the uses that are there. If those uses change and the parking requirements would change, they would have to go in front of the zoning hearing board again if they need additional relief.
so I think the board's feeling is let the zoning hearing board do their thing without sending Leo.
Yeah.
So we don't have to do anything right now?
That's correct.
Nothing to be
done. Yep.
Thank you. Okay, I just want to follow up. I know we briefly discussed this, but the uniform one is off my thing, but the police wing, where are we at with that? Do we have any numbers of drawing from the architect or?
We do have all the drawings. We received all the drawings a few weeks ago. Pat, Mitch, Jim, and I have been going over our end of the costing end of it. We are not through. We're literally going through sheetrock, wooden trusses, electricity, wall packs, the whole nine. So we expect to have that completed hopefully at the end of this week, to present the cost saving by doing it via force account and contract. Obviously, that is a big undertaking. We can't take all of it on, but we should have a cost savings analysis for you by the next meeting.
Okay, and when will this work? Whether we contract it or do it ourselves, when would that start?
Once we obtain the financing for it. So right now the guys are in there on rainy day work, just taking aluminum track down when they don't have anything else to do. Ceiling track lights and things of that nature. They were in there today for the first time, just on demo work.
Do we have an estimated completion date when the police can move in?
That honestly all depends on whether or not it gets bid out or not. We've been speaking with some of the contractors that we've used in the past, looking at their load, what they've got on their plate, and, the cost estimate. We just got, this afternoon, we just got the cost estimate in on the fire system. Yeah.
So John, couldn't we
Correct.
prepare a bid to go out in pieces and then see what our road crew, if they wanted to do something, and then not award that piece, but award the rest of the pieces, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, we're taking a look at what we believe we can and can't do. I mean, there's just some of it that's just too much of a bear.
But it still has to be bid.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, so we are going to be separating, like electrical, plumbing, the Sally port's the big one. DHVAC, obviously.
I think just legally we can't break it out too much, because then it could provide the appearance that like we're trying to undercut like the bidding thresholds and stuff. So we can't break it up into like micro chunks.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be broken up that much. I mean, HVAC, plumbing, mechanical, electrical, but the just same things that the guys did here. They can do the demo, they can do the framing, carpet tiles, ceilings, all the we don't need another one of them, but the cabinetry, the countertops, and that would all be through force account labor. But we spent probably about 8 hours on it last week, and still have probably about halfway through it, so we're getting there.
Madam President, I think Mr. Tressler has the answer to the ultimate question.
Okay, thank you. Go ahead.
No, I think you got to start with what that you're definitely going to bid out, and that should be your base bid. And then you can add alternates to the contract that you'll either award or not, depending on the price. I mean, if Public Works is putting together their own estimate, and if somebody comes in with a crazy low number, you still may want to bid it or award it.
That's what I'm saying.
But so you can put together add alternates, and then either give it to Public Works or to the base bidder.
That's what I would like to do. Bid the whole thing out in pieces that we could award or not award, right? And then you have a true cost comparison.
You would.
But you don't necessarily need to wait for them to do that, right?
I would need to know what pieces that they would want to consider doing.
Okay.
And we're working on that.
That's exactly how we're approaching this. Just what you're both saying.
Yeah, line by line.
But before we came to that final conclusion, we wanted to make sure that our guys were comfortable with what they think they're capable of doing as well. That's why it's this cooperative, and we're getting close. Like Jared said, I'm hopeful by the end of this week that we'll be there. We'll know what portions we think we can take on. But to your point, bid the whole thing, see where it comes in. Maybe we'll get lucky. Maybe it'll be super cheap. Right?
That's
the proof's in the pudding. So
that's all. Yeah. Okay. So Also with that, I want the police to be able to get in there as quickly as they can. So that's okay. I'm sure. Pushing for you, Jim. That's all I had. Oh, I'm sorry. I did have one more thing. For Ruby Lane, where are we at with like, do we know how that sewer line's going in for Core 5? Are they blasting for that? How far does it have to be from their property line? And can they ever get the results of the water tests that they said they could get?
Okay. With regard to the blasting is the only answer I have definitively.
Okay.
Well, maybe I have two out of three. They said they're going to blast.
For the sewer.
For the sewer.
Because
I think they also said they may hammer for sewer too. They weren't.
Well, they said in my notes, they said that they were going to blast unless they can hammer but
because our initial thing we told them was it's not that deep. They probably wouldn't need blasting, right? So
based on the geology that they've seen out there to date, they were thinking they may have to blast. But they also said that they think as much as people are objecting to the blasting, once they listen to the hammer for 8 hours a day, days on end, they may prefer the blasting.
Yeah.
Because it's a shot and done, and then they dig for the rest of the day, as opposed to sitting there hammering all day.
Out of curiosity, do we have a map of where exactly it's going? Because I was out there the other day. There were, they had like some pink flags up, but it wasn't really clear exactly where it was going. That lot is huge, and based on where the flags are, it looks like they're coming pretty close to the property lines.
They are. Well, they are hugging the property line. When I say hugging, it's not an engineering term. You have the property line, then there is the storm sewer. There is a plan which we circulated last week. I don't know if it got to the board members or not.
I don't think so. I don't know.
The first is a storm sewer. Unfortunately, there isn't a dimension. I looked at the plan tonight. It appears like the center of the sewer is about 25 feet off the property line. And then the sanitary sewer is over further into the property, further away from the property line after that by at least 10 or 15 feet. But both are within 50 feet of the property line.
And the storm sewer is just going to be discharging like into the wetlands over there
that is
behind
correct.
the property. It's not like going to be are we concerned about standing water back there? Mosquitoes, stuff like that.
There's detention ponds.
The storm sewer that is coming along that property is discharging into the wetlands.
Mm-hmm.
So to the extent that
it's a lot of extra water, though. I mean, that's a big facility up there, and if they're going to be routing all their water down that way, I just don't want to turn a wetland into a swamp, behind these people's property. That would be unfortunate. And
the conservation district and DEP, whenever you discharge into a wetland like that, they take a very close look at it, and they try to keep the water balance the same post-construction as what it was pre. In other words, they don't want to dry up the wetlands, and they don't want to do what you just said, end up submerging and make them a pond. They try to keep it balanced.
How do they keep it balanced if they're carrying all the water from the top of the hill all the way down there if it wasn't coming down there before?
Well, first of all, you're not allowed to change water from watersheds. So it was coming down there before.
But it had more space to percolate. I mean, presumably this is going to be carrying it and then discharging it there rather than, having it run down over the ground where it would make its way down.
Yes, you're correct.
Yeah.
But it's the best they can do with today's technology.
I mean,
they try to balance it.
I mean, the Pocono Creek is there. They couldn't run it all the way to the creek. They own the property that crosses, across what is that, Warner Road there, or to the other side. They couldn't run it all the way to the creek to have it discharge there rather than. I mean,
I don't know whether they could or they couldn't. I do know that this was the result of extensive conversations with the DEP and the Conservation District. I know the warehouse is first choice was to discharge right at their property line, all the way up and let it run down like you said it does now. And it was a conservation district that said, no, we want you to pipe it all the way down to the wetlands and discharge it at that point. So I do know that much.
Is there any space for negotiation or adjustments of these plans that are they, approved and they're moving forward as is, and there's nothing really we can do
Well,
anyway?
you can talk to them, but there's probably not, that's all it is, whether you can talk them into doing something different. I mean, they do have the right to put it in according to plan.
All right. Well, I'd like to at least get the plans to provide to the residents because I know they're concerned about where it's going to be discharging, how close it's going to be to their property, and now especially hearing that they're going to be blasting, I'm sure that they'd like to.
I will get you copies of those tomorrow. I'll send them directly to.
Thank you so
board
much.
members.
And John, rather than just sending the whole plan sheet, could you just, kind of zoom in and flip it just so they can see exactly where it's going to?
Yeah, because the
Same
plan
with the
sheet
planting diagram too.
plan sheets they're hard to read. I'll try to make it as user friendly as I can.
So I'm taking notes. So how far off their property line are they allowed to put each thing?
Allowed by plan. I will get you that. I'm going to have to do some research into the plan set tomorrow. I will put that in the email tomorrow for you. But I'm going to tell you right now, I believe both lines are within 50 foot of the property line.
It's just those ribbons were way closer than 50 feet.
I think the ribbons, and I don't know, I'm trying to get an answer. I did ask the engineer. He didn't know. He's asked the contractor to tell us what they were. My guess is they were just flagging the property line so they would know where it was.
Okay.
That's what it looked like to me. It looked like there were 2 or 3 sets of ribbons, like, one marking the property line and then one that was a little bit further back that was probably marking where it's going to be going. That was my impression looking at it. Like one further back probably was about 50 feet from the first one. That's probably what they were doing, marking the edge and then walking out 50 feet and tying off the next one.
So I thought they said there's 2 stone walls there. The one stone wall is the property line, basically, because all their markers are in the stone wall with the stakes and whatnot. So originally I thought they were taking out that stone wall, but they wouldn't be able to take it out if that is the property line, right?
They won't be taking out the stone wall if that is the property line.
Okay.
And there's no reason to. The storms, even though it's close, relatively speaking, it's not that close that they have to take out that stone wall.
Okay.
And the storm sewer isn't that deep that they would have to lay the sides back. They're not going to have to take out that stone, the property line stone wall.
Okay. Thank you.
I did ask about the water report when I had my meeting 2 weeks ago, and the only answer I got was that they don't have to give it out.
Well, they may not have to, but they put it in their letter that they would.
Well, I guess they changed their mind.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I did ask.
Yep. Thank you. Matt?
Yeah, I just want to bring up everyone's favorite topic, chickens. Leo, what's the next step on that? Can you remind me where we are? Do we need to advertise a hearing for the chicken ordinance?
We need to advertise a hearing. Let me recirculate the most recent draft and then we can try to advertise that at the next meeting. So we're all talking about the same, because there have been so many iterations on size and roosters.
No, we didn't pass one.
No.
I think we passed one.
In January.
Yeah.
To advertise it?
To advertise it. Yeah,
I thought we did. Yeah. I
We
thought
did.
we were moving ahead.
We all agreed and said, just get it over with.
Yeah, let's
Fine,
finish
well,
this.
that could be me, so you can make that motion and I'll advertise the most recent version. I can't tell you any details on it because
Let's double check
no.
and see if it was, because I think it was. Yeah.
No, yeah, we already approved it.
all right, then I apologize and I'll get it done.
Well, what I want to
Yeah.
discuss is I want to make sure that there is no cost to a resident who wants to have chickens. There was a couple residents who reached out to me concerned that they were going to be charged per chicken. There's going to be a fee for a permit. I want to make sure that there's no fees or charges. And personally, I'm not even in favor of a permit being necessary. I don't know what the rest of the board thinks, but I wanted us to discuss that.
We didn't ask for a permit. We just allowed them.
So if there is something in the zoning ordinance, it's best to issue a permit for it. So it gives them essentially a certificate of nonconformity. So if a future board does change their mind and restricts their use of chickens on a property, they have that and they are essentially grandfathered in. The legal term is lawfully non-conforming.
I'm not in favor of permit. I don't know about anybody else.
No, I'm not either. I just want to make sure we're all on the same page because there was some information being disseminated online.
Yeah. So currently, the zoning and planning rewrite that the Board of Commissioners has been working on and the Planning Commission have been working on recently does have that in there for a fee and permit for chickens, whereas the chicken ordinance, the standalone that we've been talking about, does not have that fee in it.
Yeah.
So even if even if Leo advertises it and it gets accepted by the Board of Commissioners, that permit and that fee wouldn't apply until we accept that full zoning rewrite.
And we change it.
Correct.
Yeah. So.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not in favor of pruning or fees. Is anybody else? Just have your chickens. You already have them.
In that case, people would apply for a zoning permit application. They would.
They're not going to apply. We're saying we don't want them to apply.
It's a zoning requirement. They should probably get it. That way, they have a legal record that they were.
Where is it a zoning requirement?
It's in
Once the amendment's passed, it'll be it's an amendment to our zoning ordinance, because right now we allow certain kind of animals, but we don't allow chickens on residential properties, but we do allow.
Yes. Besides domesticated animals, so the ordinance defines those, and those are exempt from permits. But horses, cattle, goats, anything of that nature do require either an agricultural permit or an additional permit.
The permit wouldn't be per chicken though. It would just be
It would be
chickens,
a blanket zoning permit for the use of a single family dwelling to have chickens on.
We can change our zoning though, right? To not require a permit.
It would be in the best favor for a person to have it. Again,
Get a free permit then.
yeah, the best case, if the board is worried about fees, would be to waive the fee in the fee schedule, that it's free. People would just come in, we would issue a permit. That way there's a legal record of it.
Is there gonna be a number required on the permit? Like, okay, so I fly today and I have 5 chickens and then I get 3 more. Do I have to update my permit then?
The way we would issue them would be based on the size of the property. So you would be allowed to have up to X amount of chickens.
That's going to be a problem because some people have chickens and they probably
And I mean, we're
don't have a
honestly
say.
not really count chickens.
Right.
Especially before they hatch.
There's so many better things to do than go back to and count chickens.
I agree.
Yeah. Well, then we can.
Until the neighbor complains,
I mean,
and we have no record of what the neighbors wanted to put on their
Well,
property.
the nuisance ordinance.
I pretty fine,
Yeah.
but.
Yeah, that is the middle of the road option.
Chickens and paying for it, it's insanity.
Yeah, I mean, if somebody has the
Well, we never said that.
if somebody has the amount,
Most people, if they do have chickens, they're going to have a chicken coop, which would be an accessory structure. So they would need a zoning permit anyway. So
I don't think it's unreasonable to ask for people to get a permit for something like this. I mean, it is something that, is potentially disruptive. It is something that, is going to have an administrative burden to it. How much is the permitting fee generally?
the zoning permit fee, the minimum fee is $70. Generally,
really high.
accessory structures are 15 cents per square foot. If they don't go over the $70, it's the $70. Change of use fees are slightly different for commercial properties. But
$70 is really high.
So again, the amount of people who own chickens would be relatively small in a year, and the people who are getting chicken permits continuously, I don't think it'd be a burden on the zoning office. So I don't think a fee would be necessary, but you would need to kind of put that in the fee schedule that they are free.
Okay, all right, I'm good.
Natasha? Mike?
Yeah. I'm going to read my blanket statement that I always read because I don't want to get sued. Statements expressed by board members are their own and do not necessarily represent the official position of the board nor myself. Now, in the past couple of weeks, I've gotten text messages, emails, people stopping me at the Giant, asking me about all this cockamamie stuff that's going on, and I just want to address some of it. First, I got them numbered. So, number one, Pocono Township is not a sanctuary, as Maureen Madden said, for illegal criminal aliens. It is, however, a sanctuary for patriotic Second Amendment supporters. Okay? I am not in favor of any ordinance limiting how many chickens, roosters, ducks, goats, camels, or unicorns one may have as long as they are kept in a safe and sanitary manner. I'm not in favor of raising the taxes on our already overburdened residents and businesses. I call them backdoor taxes, such as charging an extra fee if someone calls the police more often than somebody else does. That's a tax. Or raising the tax on the hotels and the resorts, and then they'll raise the price of the ticket, and then the people who live here go to the resort and they pay the tax through the back door because some people on this board want to raise taxes on resorts and hotels.
It's not true.
Okay, Matt.
It's not true. I just want to clarify for people that it's
Well,
not.
it is true.
It's
Let
not.
him
What
finish.
tax? Are you,
My report, Matt.
what tax are you talking about?
Let him finish. And then
What tax?
Let
are
me
you
finish.
talking
Yeah.
about?
Okay. And contrary to what some on this board may lead you to believe, we don't have a say in who you sell your property to. I know some people were upset when the Tannersville Inn got knocked down and they blamed us because now there's a Wawa there. We don't have any say in who you sell your property to. Okay? The Burnsies, it's going to be a Wawa. We didn't have any say in that. Burnsies, the Earl can sell it to whoever they want. And across the street, those are three really cute white buildings. And I know one of them was the post office. But again, we don't have any say in who they sell it to. So we aren't the bad guys here. And I am not in favor of creating yet another layer of bureaucracy for builders and residents to jump through by having an environmental advisory commission. I feel that we have enough oversight that we don't need to make people jump through another hoop just to satisfy a couple of tree huggers. Thank you.
Charles.
Thank you. I just wanted to follow up on a few items from our previous meetings and some just questions I had. Jared, you mentioned that you were able to come to some kind of agreement on the AED for TLC with the owner. Do you have the details of that agreement for us?
We'd gone back and forth with Gary Hoffman and Smithfield Township. The next day, Jill had called Smithfield and asked for their equipment back, and we'd gone back and forth. We are waiting for the signed copy of the indemnification agreement from Monroe County Control Center. They did advise that they would be signing it at their next board meeting. So I have not received a copy of that back yet. I did reach out to Jill and let her know and gave her a wish list of 5 different locations for AEDs where they're close, but obviously every second matters. So the 5 locations, one was for Learn Park. One was at TLC near the splash pad. The other was on the other side of the ball field where the concession stand is for TLC. And one was up at the soccer field, Mountain View Park. And the other one was closer to the pickleball courts for Mountain View Park as well.
All right. Perfect. Thank you very much.
I'll keep you updated. Once we get the identification agreement back from Monroe County Control Center, we can go forward with that. But we do, we did look at, because those have to be hardwired in. So we looked at all those different options as well. So it'd be a win. We can get them everywhere.
Yeah, no, I would love to see us get one for TLC Park. Especially with the splash pad. I've talked to a number of parents who were surprised to hear that we didn't have one there. So I'm really happy we're potentially going to be moving forward with that. The other thing I wanted to talk about was at the PSATS training Matt and I went to, I think 2 weeks ago. I had asked about townships being able to pay by credit card for things rather than just by checks. To my knowledge, we currently pay for everything by check, don't we? Pretty much.
Pretty much everything is paid by check. Yeah, I mean we do have P cards, purchase cards, through the Pliget Trust, but everything, all our bills and, reoccurring utilities and everything is by check.
Yeah, I mean the township supervisors we were talking to were shocked that we still did most of our stuff by check in this day and age. I mean, it's a huge administrative burden. I know when I was talking to some of the staff during my day in the life, they were saying like checks get lost in the mail, and sometimes we miss discount windows because we're not paying in a timely manner because we're waiting for checks to get signed and to go out and this and that.
Christine's pretty good on those discounts.
And I know she is. I know she is, but sometimes it's out of her control when, it doesn't, it gets lost in the mail or something like that. And so, I wanted to kind of take the board's temperature on whether they'd be interested in looking at a resolution for, allowing the township to pay for certain things by credit card. It would take some of the burden off of us signing checks. We'd still get our list of all of the expenditures. But it would just make it easier for the office staff to do their administrative stuff, and it would, kind of bring Pocono Township into the 21st century.
I'm not in favor of it. There's the interest rates on them are ridiculous, and we pay by check. We have credit. We have charge accounts at places, and we get an invoice once a month, and they pay it off. Like Steele's.
It's 2 signatures.
It's a paper trail.
Yeah, it requires 2 signatures for every check. So it's just the checks and balances. If we're sending out that amount of money, it's probably good to have a checks and balances.
Okay, yeah, no, I'm just trying to save the township staff some work. If what the other townships are doing, that's the direction they're moving. If we want to, stay in the 1990s writing checks, that's that's the decision of the board.
Well, I just want to explain it though, because you're not really saving staff time, and I'll explain as an accountant. I'll explain why. Because you get that credit card and you got 20 different things on there, and they get coded to 20 different places. Mm-hmm. So you still have to do the same work that you have to do to enter a check. You got to enter every one of those line items in the computer, right? And pay the bill. You got to pay the credit card bill. So you're doing the same thing.
I mean, you're not paying interest if you pay the credit card off on time. You're not, or if they did like a debit card, still, it's the same thing. They could pay it off, or they would just be paying it from the township account. It would just remove, that frankly antiquated step of having a physical check that can get lost in the mail, can create delays in payments and things like that can end up incurring costs on the township. I hate to see that, especially with the mail becoming less and less reliable over time. I'd like to see the township move in a more modern direction. But
it's also an easier audit trail to give the auditor a check instead of a credit card statement.
That's why I wanted to take the temperature of it before I brought any kind of motion before the board. So that's all I have. Thank you.
Ellen, can I say something before we move on?
Go ahead.
Because at the legislative luncheon, there was also a question to Representative Madden about Pocono Township specifically raising the hotel and amusement taxes. Neither of those we can do. We can't do a hotel tax. That's illegal. And our amusement tax is already capped, so we can't raise that either. Representative Madden seemed not to understand that. And by the comments of my fellow commissioner here, who I respect, I don't know if you understand that either, Mike.
Why do we need an ordinance?
We are not raising. What ordinance are you talking? We're not raising taxes on businesses. In fact, we just cut taxes on businesses, and the amusement tax discussion would lower the tax burden on businesses as well. So I just want to make that very clear to the board, to the public, and to everybody.
Jared?
Thank you, Madam President. Commissioner Kepler, you had asked for a parking update for where we ended up. So last year we started 2 weeks into June, give or take, right around June 15th. Overall, we ended up profiting $3,326 from the program. And we did budget for that again this year, starting from Memorial Day to Labor Day.
So we are intending on moving forward with charging again this summer for parking, with no actions taken by the board.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, personally, I don't like charging to the park. I think it deterred a lot of people from visiting.
That's right up to the board.
Yeah, no, I mean, when I went to the park, it felt like a ghost town a lot of times last year. And I think that's a real shame because in previous years, it's been, so vibrant. And last year it just felt, it felt desolate a lot of times. And I think part of that is, miscommunication about who was going to be charged. But I also think that, people from outside the community also go there. I mean, it's a big park. It's meant to, facilitate a lot of kids being there. Limiting the people who do come there, who can come there, or who, ultimately will come there because of charging. I think that really it degrades the quality of the park because, half of the quality of the park is the equipment that's there, but half of it is the kids that are there to play with. It's not fun to play at a playground by yourself. So I'll probably have a motion on the agenda next week. I don't know which way the board will go, but I would like to see that fee lifted. I don't think that's I don't like the fee.
I don't care for the fee either, but the profit that you said we made, did that take into account their salaries that we're
Yes.
paying for them?
Yeah.
So how much did we bring in?
I'd have to pull it up. It was it was just around $18,000.
How many?
18,000.
For parking?
Yeah.
That doesn't sound right. Yeah, I'd like to see that.
I'll get the numbers, but that
Okay.
was the overall profit at the end of the year. We did start off upside down, and then August came around and it brought us back up.
Thank you.
Next, John's control update. We did send the request for the changes that Leo had marked out for the preventative maintenance from John's control. They've escalated that up to their legal department. We have not heard anything back, so we'll keep you updated on that. Route 611 and 715 construction update. As you can see, they've been chipping away pretty well at the mountain. They do plan to go to the alternate traffic plan with temporary traffic lights for starting the third week of April. So they built the new bridge over there. They'll be using temporary traffic lights to reroute traffic, and then they'll be working on the other side of that bridge. So that where the old bridge is and the new bridge will actually be, it's a very large bridge to handle the left straight and right turn lanes.
I had a question on that because I drove by there the other day, and on the corner of 715 north going north and 611 across from the park, there's big puddle and there's no berm there to catch it. Aren't they supposed to have a berm to catch the water flow? Like the Bernsey Wawa has all these round things on the roadside, and PennDOT does not.
Filter socks.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
You
Aren't they required?
mean where the house was that they took it down on the corner?
No, just the corner.
Doing the exhibition.
Yeah.
I know they're trucking stuff in and out of there. I don't know.
I mean, because now there's a big
We
puddle.
could
That's what I'm
ask.
figuring out.
Yeah, I can look tomorrow. I know there was a construction entrance there, which should have tire scrubbies, the stone and the geo underneath. I know what you're talking about. And when I drove up there today, where they had excavated going north on 611, you could see there was a long puddle that had accumulated there.
Yeah.
I can take a look at it tomorrow.
Okay, thank you.
They are, yeah,
They're still required to have the filter socks though. So
Yeah, everybody else has them.
they got hit for that closer across
Yeah,
the
well,
village.
think they have.
Well, it's Pocono Township and we have rules.
We had talked about the police cost breakdown, hopefully to have that at the end of the week. And just a Core 5 blasting update for this week. They will be blasting Thursday and Friday. And that's all I have, Madam President.
Thank you. Anybody have anything for Jared? Pat?
Thank you, Madam President. Just a few items in the park. I wanted to let the board know that I've scheduled the water to be turned on next week. That's weather permitting. The building is not fully insulated, so we have to be mindful of the temperatures, but it looks like we should be good for next week. I've also coordinated with the water testing company to come out for our official opening and the testing that's required to be done. Today, I met with Cinetech regarding turf management for ball fields. They do a lot of work with golf courses, and really knowledgeable turf professional offered his services and guidance for free. And he's going to be putting a program together for me regarding fertilization that I'm going to compare with our current program from Site One. So just keeping everybody honest. I'll keep the board apprised of that.
Thank you.
The Monroe County Waste Authority. I know Commissioner Kepler was interested in the military road transfer station that was discussed. That is moving forward. So I had a meeting, a regular scheduled Monroe County Municipal Waste Authority meeting on the 10th. And we talked about the pick up the Poconos. Now that the snow is melting, they're going to be starting that program up again. And then also Mr. Stetler reported that the military road transfer station is moving forward and they're getting funding for that. So I'll keep the board apprised on that. You know, that's a close location for Pocono Township residents. That would be a good alternative.
Better than going all the way to Penn Archel to the dump and paying $40. That's for sure.
Correct. And getting nails in your tires by going down there as well. Right.
Yeah.
So I'll keep you posted on that as well. On the sewer side, we completed and submitted the required Chapter 94 sewer reports. If anybody's interested in seeing a copy, it's kind of bland, but it's basically our operations for the year. So that was completed and submitted. And I had an interesting inquiry. I think I've shared this with the board in the past that I had been contacted a couple of months ago by a potentially large user in the township that was inquiring about sewer service. I had a follow-up meeting with representatives and their engineer, and they're just outside of our Act 537 current area right now, but they're not far outside of our Act 537 area. And I'm going to be doing some more research and I'll provide a full update to the board probably next meeting. I'll be able to tell you what's going on with that. But it's a large user up Sullivan, actually up Camelback Road. So you can imagine who that might be. And then finally, the plans for the MCTI extension were complete. They were submitted to Strand for final sign off. We got some good comment back from them. There was one small adjustment they wanted on the easement location, which doesn't affect our project. So we're going to be accommodating them. And yeah, we're just waiting for the funding and the Penvest to go, and we'll be able to do that MCTI extension as well. And that's my report. If there's any other questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Anybody have anything for Pat?
The pickleball courts open yet?
They are. We got nets. So we were trying to melt the ice so we could get the water out so we can get the pickleball nets up. But we got some up. We're getting there. Yeah, we're getting there.
Speaking of pickleball, I had somebody approach me and wanted to know if we're going to turn those basketball courts into pickleball courts up at Mountain View. I didn't know if we had any more problems up there or if the problems have been resolved.
No, they have not been resolved. I mean, so currently we took one of the basketball courts out and put the 3 pickleball courts in. We did authorize some new camera systems over there last year. Mitch and Andy, I think Andy, still have to do the little bit of electrical to get the final 2 cameras on the other side. Honestly, the biggest problem is just the people refusing to leave in the litter, or the people jumping over the fence at night. I mean, looking looking at some of the body cam footage from the police department, it's just amazing how ignorant some people can be, disrespectful to some of our police officers and our park staff, because they're ultimately the ones who have to call when the people refuse to leave.
So I have a funny story that was told to me that they were at Mountain View Park playing pickleball, probably on the lower level, right by the Heritage Center, and they saw this car and they thought it was on fire, and they're getting ready to call the police, right, because the smoke is billowing out, and then all of a sudden the people come out and smoking pot. And it was just all this smoke, right? And yeah, but then then they have to smell that, and but it's,
yeah, we've gotten quite a few.
Yeah,
we've gotten quite a few complaints on
but we still have basketball courts.
Yes, as of now, yeah.
Thank you. Okay, John?
Thank you, Ellen. Don't have a whole lot to report. Things have slowed down a little bit in terms of plan review. We are looking at members first, their plans back in. And the Ridge has submitted their phase 1, so we're looking at that. And TLC Park, we have a pre-construction meeting this Wednesday. So that's moving forward, and that's pretty much what we're working on right now, unless there's any questions.
No? Anybody have anything for John? No? Thank you. Leo?
Okay, so now for controls, I have comments on the social media policy. I know it's up for discussion. We are of the opinion that Lisa had just gone through this with another one of our townships, but the policy is important. The only real problem is what is the penalty for violating it? There is no way to penalize somebody for violating. So, it's sort of like the decorum policy that we have. It's a good guide, I would suspect. So you can review that, and I'll entertain any comments at next meeting. With the board's permission, again, tonight has been my night to rain on all the cereal. I would like a 10-minute executive session to discuss potential litigation and personnel. I want to update the board on a couple of issues that we didn't have a chance to before the meeting.
Okay. Anything else? Does anybody have anything else for Leo?
Sorry, so you said we're gonna go through this next meeting?
Yeah,
Are you gonna
give
put it on the
everybody a
agenda?
chance to review it. Yes. Yep.
What's that? Did you want to discuss it tonight, or you just want to move on? Okay. Okay. Then I'll make a motion that we adjourn into executive session, and we won't be back tonight. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
No, I don't think so.